But now I am now also
I just
recording.
have a
So
blank screen up, so I'm just gonna get rid of the blank screen and just have the audio underneath and just work around that. So.
mm.
All right, we'll go by hierarchy. KidOtaku, introduce yourself.
All right, so I'm KidOtaku, and pretty much what I do on my channels, I talk about like My Hero Academia, Chainsaw Man, and Jujutsu Kaisen. Those are mainly the series I want to focus on right now because I mainly want to focus on like new gen series because there's a lot of people out there in the community that like still talk about like the older series and stuff like that, but I kind of want to just branch out, do something like a little bit different, giving love to newer series, seeing what direction they go. That's why like whenever new series are like added to like Weekly Shonen Jump, I always make sure to like at least give my first impressions about the series, and if I ever go back to it, I do a follow-up video giving my thoughts on it and everything. So yeah, that's mainly what I do. Just like anything revolving around like anime and manga, it's usually what you'll see on my channel. And I get like very analytical when it comes to certain series. Like it all depends really. Like if I know the series well, like when I do My Hero, if I know the series well, like how things are structured in that series, I can go on and on. But if I have like a new series added to my channel, I have to like study it a little bit longer so I can get used to the environment and the characters and the abilities and everything like that.
Oh yeah,
But
I totally feel that.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Controlled Chaos. I'm Red. That over there is David. Say hi, David.
Yeah. Hi.
If obviously if you're watching this on our channel, you know who we are. If you're not, stop on over, watch our channel trailer. I highly recommend it. You will know immediately if you are interested in our type of content because we like to give a half and half. This is where the name comes from. It's genius branding, I know. Controlled. That's your like deep analytical. We're talking about the chapters. We're getting deep about it. Chaos is where we're making dick jokes and talking about like the waifus we'd bang. Woohoo! It's a fun time over there.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Rax the hero, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, doing good. Primarily, I think for my channel, the most part, I partially with the same kind of like mindset that KidOtaku has, trying to push up a lot of the new series. Been on Chainsaw Man since chapter 1. Been on the hype train since it came out. This the super weird. I'm surprised it's in Shonen Jump series. Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm just waiting for it to get an anime for people to be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe the series exists." Meanwhile, I've been over here reading it for a while. But the normal kind of thing that comes whenever a series gets popular, but also the ever so fun to see get talked around Black Clover. Still forever and always going to be a huge Fairy Tail fan, Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and even with all these new ones coming up, I gotta rep hard into the older series. But as this is gonna be Chainsaw Man chat, so we gotta talk about a lot of things.
Gathered together.
Yeah,
because all of us, I think, and I've never been part of like a group of like the biggest before, but I do believe we are the 3 biggest channels that talk about Chainsaw Man on a regular basis.
yeah. I was gonna say
pretty much.
One of the
Because
things
it's like if you look up Chainsaw Man, like if you just like go on YouTube or now you look up Chainsaw Man, it's either my videos pop up, your guys' videos pop up, or Rax's videos pop up.
yeah,
It's just mainly us like doing like discussion theory videos, stuff like that, like giving our thoughts on like the series as a whole. That's the one thing I do notice.
The thing about Chainsaw Man,
how we noticed Rax, and this I give David total props here. We were doing a why you should read Chainsaw Man video, because this is when it had maybe like I don't know 10, 15 chapters, and we were like, this is godliness. Yeah. And David was just curious, like, who else has done Chainsaw Man videos? And he found Rax the hero. And then, like, in the first, like, 10 seconds of that video, he's like, I don't know how many other people on YouTube do these videos. We see you, Rax the hero. And then Rax came over and commented, like, I've been mentioned. And then it started a beautiful
Kid managed to, he's the one that told me about it. Oh, cool. I'll go listen.
Yeah, because I still remember that clit joke about Rize that you guys made.
Bullet?
Yeah. So going back to that, like that whole Nazi joke mentioned earlier and everything, I definitely remember that joke about Rize, the clip bullet.
Dude, I don't know if you.
know exactly what we're about. I was worried I'd have to ease into
bullet merch.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't put it past you because that could potentially be a thing. We just haven't explored that environment.
The thing about Chainsaw Man, I think, is ridiculous. So, like I said, I'm a huge like Fairy Tail fan. I've read all of Hiro Mishima stuff. I can vaguely kind of grasp a lot of the things that he tries to like lay out and get stuff prepared. So like I'm like, oh, I can kind of gauge what's going to happen next because I kind of understand this author. It's impossible with Fujimoto. Like there's no like consistent like shonen layout for what he does. I mean, the only thing you could kind of guess is like, oh, the main character will get a power up at some point. Like new abilities and techniques, kind of like stuff. Other than that, like Chainsaw Man is a horribly unpredictable. You can't really be like, oh, I can see where this author's going, and then like the next chapter he pulls like, oh yeah, Denji's gonna ditch everybody and try and run away with this crazy Russian serial killer. And it's
I'm
like,
so glad you brought that up. David always like complains about that in videos, like because we have a thing, and whenever we're finishing a video, we're like, all right, predictions, and David's like, I have none, I never have none. Why are you asking me?
there's
It's so funny, and I made that point with the recent chapters too. Like, I had no idea. I was like, will he run away with her? And will that take the series on a whole new path, or will they not? And now, of course, we know what happened. But like, it's so fun to read a series like that where you really are on that roller coaster ride of like not having any idea what's going to happen.
yeah. Have you
That's been our thing.
have you read the interview with the Chainsaw Man editor?
I haven't.
No, I haven't.
I only read part of it, and I knew pretty much how it's going to go. They ask him essentially like, what does he do as an editor? And he's like, I just let him do whatever he wants. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about
watching the chaos.
that sounds about right.
That's beautiful. I was at the mall yesterday and I picked up the first volume of Fire Punch, and I'm very excited to dive into it.
Yeah, that series is super weird too. Like
I
that.
actually need to start that. Like that's definitely on my list too, because I want to see what I can take from that series and then look back at Chainsaw Man and see, okay, is there
like analyze?
Yeah, it's very strange. Like when Chainsaw Man first got announced, and I was like, oh, that's a very straightforward name. And I looked at the author, and I'm like, why does this guy seem familiar? And I haven't read all Fire Punch, but I think I read like half of it, and I was like, okay, this is gonna get really weird. And just as said, it gets super weird.
All I know about it is he described it to me as like, all right, there's a guy who kind of has like a Deadpool healing factor, and then he gets hit with like a fire spell that's kind of like Amaterasu from Naruto, where it'll never go out, but see, he's continuously healing, but also continuously on fire, and that's the main character.
There's a point where there's other people that have that healing power, and so people will capture them and like cut off their limbs to use as food or like firewood. It's super weird.
I love it. But yes, we're here today to get back on topic, as much as I love being off topic, to talk about why we love Chainsaw Man so much. When did you know that you were going to love Chainsaw Man, guys? Like, I want to go down the line. Like, what was the moment where you were like, oh my god, this is something amazing?
Well, like page 2, when I saw a giant multi-eyed tomato monster that he was going to... While the main character was wielding a chainsaw puppy, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to like this series already. And I've been
a little longer for me, because I've seen wacky designs a bunch. Like, what's Kishimoto's new series again?
Samurai 8, yeah.
Like that has some cool designs, but like, God, it bored me. Like, what was your just quickly? What was your thoughts on that?
On Samurai 8, Samurai 8 is hard because like the first like 15 chapters feel like chapter 1, where it's like. Like every series, chapter 1, it's like, all right, establish stuff, get everything out in the open, get all your kind of like understandings of powers and whatnot. And it's like, the main character, they either lose something or something kicks off their journey. For that, it's like 15 chapters, which I get. Kishimoto is very successful. I think he knows what he's doing. I think a lot of people are like too impatient, and I'm super impatient. Yeah. So like, but at the same time,
personally for me, I think I only read like 15 chapters to that series, and I decided just to put it on pause because it really wasn't clicking with me. And I usually do that with some series to see where it goes. But I sometimes don't want to force myself to read if I'm not interested in it, because I know that just doesn't mix well with me.
One of the things I think about it very much, and similar to like what I feel about like Eden Zero, I think it'll do way better as an anime for a space kind of like mech series. I think visually, definitely, it'll add a lot more. Like it's pretty cool, but like some of the weird fluidity of it, I think is kind of hard when you're reading a manga versus like martial arts versus weird space samurai stuff. Sure. It might be a little bit hard to...
For me, it was actually the chapter where he's fighting Aki, and he's like, "When I fight a guy, I only kick the nuts." And I was like, oh, this is special. that was the moment I was like, oh, I'm never stopping reading this. And Makima also fascinated me from the very beginning.
Oh yeah,
Like,
dude, she's gonna be a villain. I'm telling you this right. I've been
That
saying
actually
this for a
goes
while.
along with one of my videos I'm planning on making soon.
Yeah,
Like,
I saw your poll today. I voted for the Makima endgame villain thing. David, I don't want to leave you out of this. What was like your moment where you were like, I'm gonna love this series?
Well, we kind of talked about it in the why you should be reading, I think. But for me, it was definitely when they revealed the Gun Devil backstory.
Oh
and it's kind of
yeah,
like,
like the whole
Oh,
like
yeah,
he
dude,
killed like
that-
hundreds of thousands of people in like 13
series.
seconds.
That
I
whole
can't lie,
that whole
was,
chapter
really
was like
intriguing too.
that whole
Because it's
chapter
like,
gave chills.
I want to, because like just listening at like, I mean, not listening, just looking at like how everything was addressed in that chapter, kind of makes you think in your head like how they're gonna compete against somebody like that. I mean, look, knowing how Makima wants Denji to go up try to fight somebody like that, like how?
Well, yeah, personally, also, I love just like villain hype chapters where it's like it's not
yeah.
it's not anything about the main character. It's just like this guy is a big deal, and that's
Like,
all it
it's like
is.
yeah, it's like we
I
learned
agree.
like,
Like,
a little bit
and
of information about him. Like we know that Rize has like some sort of ties with him, but we don't know. We just keep getting like more things like added in. We don't know what he looks like or anything like that.
He'll be Russian now.
Yeah,
Oh man, I hope he looks like Rasputin.
wow. Damn. Yeah, like, and I like the power system too, or like what there is. Obviously, you have the contract thing, but like, and I want to confirm this with other Chainsaw Man reviewers because I've always just said this, but I don't fully remember because I haven't reread it yet. So like, I could be bullshitting, but like, the power system is basically like the demons in question are more or less powerful depending on how like fearful of that subject humans
Yeah.
are. That's so interesting to me. I love so like someone out there is scared of tomatoes enough to make a tomato devil. Why?
yeah.
I mean, maybe
Allergies?
they're allergic. I get it.
Family was murdered in a horrible tomato accident.
Somebody choked on a tomato or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's like one of those things where it's like somebody put on a bad performance and then
Yeah, they were booed.
tomato
They
or
were booed off
somebody-
stage. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome. It's just a bunch of sad comedians that went to the Apollo and shit. Just made this horrifying demon.
I like that. That's a good idea.
I'm fully wondering where the time period takes place because, like, Russia's still the Soviet Union, so it could be what, like the 80s?
Now, are we getting a vibe that it's like because obviously some manga, like Bleach, for example, was supposed to take place in our world still, whereas like Naruto is, and One Piece, it's like a fictional world. Do you get the vibe that this is supposed to be in our worlds completely, or is it like an alternate universe thing, or like some things are the same, some things are different? Because the Soviet Union thing threw me off as well.
I'm just guessing it's just it's our Earth but with weird shit involved, just some
Yeah.
slightly
That's how
twisted.
Smartphones and all that.
Yeah.
Different like, demons exist.
Do they
Yeah,
have?
that's how I look at it. 'cause
Was
they
there a
have,
part
like,
with smartphones?
modern technology that we have and everything?
I don't remember smartphones because I've been trying to figure out what time period it takes place in. The only thing I can really gauge is like, oh, the Soviets. You know, it's probably what, like the 80s, something around that. I mean, what was it in chapter like 3 when they said Soviet Warhawks and like militarized devils? I can't wait to see that shit.
Let's see other topics to talk about. What do you guys think? I'm trying to think like favorite fights, favorite characters. Where can we go from here?
The
Read
problem
it.
from here is endless.
I mean, the fights are like all awesome. I mean, like some of the stuff too, like all the characters are so uniquely set. Like you can't tell if Makima's a villain or not. Like Power is just like the most standout female lead I've seen forever. She's so weird. You get like all these like fun cutesy girls, and like Power's like a psychotic racist who just like ditches people on sight to die. You got like
Yeah.
Denji. Denji, I think, is kind of weird because he's more like, I think a lot of people that read it like think he's dumb. I think he's just uneducated. You know, he doesn't seem like he's just incapable.
Clearly saw that at like the school too.
Yeah, I think it's not that he's stupid. I think he just never had a chance to learn. But like
I'm
his
glad that you
his
pointed that out, yeah, 'cause,
character,
like
but like one
I've
of the
seen dumb characters before, and they
Yeah.
bother me, right? So like, and I know this is an overplayed trope, but like, I cannot stand Asta and Black Clover.
I
Like,
love
he's
Asta.
dumb,
He's
right?
oh no, he's canonically dumb. He's not smart.
Okay. That's fair.
I know, I
But,
like him.
like
He's,
Denji, it's a different kind of dumb. It's not infuriating. It's almost endearing.
Yeah.
dumb.
Like I understand where he came from because he pretty much like the way that we got introduced to him in the beginning of the series, he literally had nothing. Like he was trying to pay off the rest of his dad's debt that he had, like after he passed away.
On a
And he was
side
living
note,
in he was living in like some sort of like sugar shack, and then eventually
oh,
came
yeah,
across
his
Kojima one day,
shed.
and his whole world changed. So it's like looking at where he came from, like I could sort of understand like why he acts the way he is, and then the more he like gets in, well, and then the more he like I guess gets involved with like everything that's going on right now, the more it like grows him as a person, if that makes any sense. Because I felt like
Definitely.
Yeah.
his
Just on a
interactions with Rize, opened up his mind a little bit. Like, okay, this girl is like leading me on. She's trying to manipulate me. Because pretty much, like a common thing I noticed that everybody's after this dude's heart. Like, there's something special about this
Everyone
dude's heart.
wants the
Everybody wants.
chainsaw heart, but no one cares about Denji's
Oh, we're
heart.
gonna be finding out like some crazy stuff
Yeah.
about Pochita
Pretty
at
sure
some
there's, like,
point. He's gonna be like a
something behind it.
chainsaw. Think about this. He's a dog with 3 chainsaws specifically, like in power
Yeah.
mode. He's gonna be
Well,
like a
remember that
chains.
chapter that
He's
we
gonna
had
be like a
about-
chainsaw Cerberus. It's gonna be
There
awesome.
was a chapter that was very like Naruto-esque, where like he was in his inner world.
Yeah,
and,
he
like,
was having a
closed.
dream.
Remember that?
He was having a dream, and with like the door with the eye on it.
Yeah, like that was super like Naruto Kurama-esque, and I hate to compare.
Well, there were
Naruto
notes
to
too,
Naruto,
but
but
there were like smaller ones. Like remember the Eternity Devil talked about the chainsaw. Like he knew him as the chainsaw as well. On a side note, I would like to say just at that whole like dumb character thing, I don't mind as long as they're not like unreasonably stupid. Like Goku. Goku bothers the hell out of me. They made him so much dumber in Super. He's like, oh, I'm in my mid-30s and have 2 kids, but I don't know where kids come from or how like any of that works. I'm like, how is he possibly that stupid?
Wasn't there like a thing like it was revealed that he never kissed Chi-Chi?
Yeah, he doesn't like kissing girls. I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
That's unreasonably.
That's
That's so unreasonably dumb. But yeah, so one of the things to note about Denji is like because he grew up pretty much as just like he was just like a child worker. He didn't do anything with his life. He just worked every day, gave money, and tried to not die. He started out pretty blank as a character, and one of the things like we noticed is like he during the whole part with the Eternity Devil is he didn't like the idea of being in debt to anybody because obviously like how his life kind of got screwed over because of his dad. His whole worry about whether or not he's still human, all the stuff about just wanting to live and trying to find good things in life. Like the whole like when Reze is talking to him and she's like, you go to work every day, you try not to die, and then you just get somewhere to sleep and 3 meals a day. And he's like, yeah, that's amazing to me. I didn't even have that until recently.
It makes sense too because it's like comparing where he was before and looking at where he is now. If I was in his shoes, I'd be like, you know what? I'm working, I'm getting paid, I'm eating. I feel like that's more than enough to be happy at that point. I mean, it's better to be where he is now.
He's like
rather than being miserable than he was before.
He's like the polar opposite of Boruto.
To build on that point too, like one of the things that really drew me in with his character was like little things like how like when he first was able to eat bread with toppings on it, he put all the toppings on it, like sprinkles and mayonnaise and jam.
He was just so happy.
And like the beginnings of his character, like in the first 10, 20, 30 chapters, his motives were very simple things like, oh man, I hope I get to touch a breast one day, and oh, I want to have a kiss, and then it's always fucked up. Like Power's like, sure, you can touch mine, and she was patting, and then it's like, oh cool, the puke girl wants to fucking kiss me, and then she pukes in his mouth. And it's just like it's like the most. His goals are so like weirdly lewd and wholesome at the same time because like they're lewd, but it's just because he wants.
He's a 16-year-old boy. He's just trying to do basic things with life.
He has the mentality of like a middle schooler, like, oh boy, I hope I get to kiss a girl one day. Like it's so weirdly wholesome because you feel bad for him, and it keeps.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole cast is so interesting as well.
I like all the characters.
I'm so intrigued on like the pathway of Aki as well. Like I feel like he could be the main character if Denji somehow wasn't there. Like his character is so deeply written within 50 chapters.
Where, like you have Saitama, and then like Genos is like actually the main character if you really look at it.
Yeah.
I love Aki.
Yeah, dude, he's so deeply written for only 50 something chapters. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, David.
So Red, you're the big Hunter x Hunter fan. Do you think this might go down the path of like Gon just taking the step to the side, and then Aki, just becoming the new MC, kind
No,
of like Kurapika
I don't
is?
get that vibe. I don't think that this series is gonna be that long. I get like 100 to 150 chapters max vibe to it. I don't see it being long running. And that's actually, I'd be curious on your guys' thoughts on that.
I could see it being pretty like as long as the author kind of feels, because I mean, Fire Punch was something, but this is like his first pretty big hit. Like it's only a year old and it's
Fire Punch,
already
like 80 something chapters.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it was very long.
I'm pretty sure it
And
was less than 100.
Fire Punch,
Oh, okay.
from what I understand, it wasn't like a big hit. It's doing better now because he's more successful and people are looking at his works. But I'm pretty sure that he's gonna try and ride this for a while because like Chainsaw Man's only a year old and it's already sold over 1 million volumes. So
and that's really good.
yeah, he's gotta ride this train. So I think he's gonna go, like, he's got enough material and easy ways to bring out like new devils and whatnot to go further.
Yeah.
And the series is called Chainsaw Man, so like, it doesn't have to be Denji. Anybody who ends up taking the chainsaw heart after him could be the main character. You could go on this for a long time.
The series has been.
Yeah, and
you never know what could happen, honestly. Like, that's like one of the things I was thinking about as well. Like, when we had that whole thing brought up where like him and Rize like wanted to, Rize wanted him to run away with her. Like, and then where we had that whole like Russia thing get introduced to us about her character. Like, at that point I was like,
legit happen, yeah.
I was thinking, oh, they're gonna like expand the world, go to like Russia. Like they ended up like running away over there or something. Like anything can really happen. Like especially like how they're like hyping up like the Gun Devil and everything. Like if they want to like introduce more elements into the story that's like leading towards that direction, then Fujimoto could do that. Like there's just a lot of things he can explore, like with Aki's character, Makima's character, because Makima's character like has a lot of mystery behind it. It's like really hard to read like what she's gonna do because of that one chapter we got. I can't remember what chapter it was. I remember it was that chapter where we thought she died when she got like shot on that tree.
oh, that was like 27, I think.
To believe it. There's no way.
Yeah, that was. I didn't think
next
she was
chapter,
dead.
it's like we see that those people are dead, and then she's like doing some Krollo shit with her fingers.
Well, she's some form of hybrid.
When she was just crushing people from like miles away, I was like, what?
She's got to be a hybrid like Denji and
Reze.
Pluses
in her eyes. She has those pluses in her eyes. That's what I noticed.
The vibe I got was that like, most people will make a contract with one demon. I have a feeling she's got contracts with like many. You know what I mean?
So yeah,
she definitely she must have like a lot of like resources, I would assume.
I'm pretty sure.
She's got a new power. Like in
Yeah,
the last chapter, like,
the rats and shit.
Fucking mound of rats. It's like, what the hell?
Well,
Probably.
one of the things that I've got theorized. So I think she's a hybrid because I think that's the only reason she's alive still. The hybrids seem to be immortal unless you do. I don't know if it's you pierce their heart or destroy them, which is why I'm wondering if Reze's still alive or whatnot. But I'm guessing because the hybrids are different. I mean, you've seen like, okay, you have the devils, you have the fiends, where the devils take over human body, but then you have these hybrids that have human body with devil heart, and not only can they get powered off of human blood, but also devil blood. I'm wondering if they can actually take contracts with devils, because we know devils can't take contracts with each other. These hybrids seem more human than devil than anything. So maybe that's going to be like her thing, is she's gonna be able to use all of their stuff without like the whole like takes your lifespan or does anything to you, because she can just heal from it as a hybrid.
It would be kind of like the concept of the Vizards in Bleach, like
yeah,
yeah, I can see that.
But I think Fujimoto's definitely got a lot set.
Something I really liked in this series, and this was pretty early on, was that moment where this was like a lot deeper than I expected from like any shonen, and it was when he was like, he was all about wanting to feel a boob. Makima is like, sure, you can feel my boob, right? And at first it's like a disappointment to him. He's just like, well, I feel nothing. And then she, weirdly enough, like teaches him a very important lesson, which is it's not just the boob that's the important part. It's like having an emotional connection to this person, like feel my ear, like look into my eyes and now feel it. And he's like, oh my God, now it's, and she did a similar thing with like when his first kiss tasted like puke and he was all disappointed about that. She just took the sucker out and she was like, now your first indirect kiss tastes like cola flavored sucker. Like, it's just, there's a lot of weirdly wholesome moments. And then the movie theater moment, like we got to talk about these moments. Like they have really weirdly wholesome moments between Makima and Denji that are like really deep and like
I think
perspective on their like personalities and psyche and yada yada. It's just
I
it's fascinating
still
to me.
I still 100% think that she's manipulating the hell out of
Oh,
him.
definitely.
Definite
I don't-
Yeah, I
villain.
mean,
Because like
based
look
on,
at
every girl
look
that's
at
interacted with him so
yeah, well
far,
look at
definitely is
look
getting
at like
manipulated.
Power. Power's not smart, but Makima controls her with fear, and then you have Denji, who's this pretty chipper
Love
spirited young teenager, and she's controlling him with his heart, trying to emotionally get all the ties.
And she's very good at it because it even sometimes makes me think twice. It's like,
And
wow, she's so wholesome.
one of the
Like,
things
she
to
loves
note
me.
is back when she was talking to Kishibe, is he could see through her lies, and she liked that. I think she's all about the game. She's all about just the
I loved the conversation.
puppeteering
between
of.
her and him.
Yeah, he seems to be the only person that can see through her. Probably why she doesn't fuck with him too much.
I
But
hope they have a confrontation at some point, like more than just talking. Like
I want to see more what
like,
he's
go through it.
capable of. He's supposed to be like the top devil hunter.
Right,
Yeah,
but no, I
'cause
feel like Makima's more powerful than she lets on.
Oh,
Oh,
100%.
definitely, for sure.
Like I
She
could see
definitely
Makima
has a lot of
having
stuff.
a pretty challenging fight with like I could see him like, nah, you've gone too far, because he clearly has like a code of conduct. Like, and I think what was it that he said? He was like, don't bring me back more people that are just gonna die. He was kind of pissed about the like sending all these people just to die or something.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Remember that?
she's
Yeah, I
100%.
remember.
I think Lena, she's gonna be a big villain. Personally, I think she's gonna be one of the more top villains in Shonen Jump's had in a long time. Just the way that she's been built. All it's gonna take is when she officially switches over, and I'll probably like place her as my #1 right now in Shonen Jump.
She's already
Like-
one of my favorite female characters of like anything. Like,
Oh yeah, she's
she stands
super.
out so much.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, like, I'll be honest here, I've been like a Rize fanboy for a while, but
Oh, I love Rize.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not something you can get along on. Like,
Oh, I'm
David
wondering-
made fun of me, and David called it from the beginning. He was like, "She's gonna be evil," and I was like, "I don't want her to be evil."
I knew there had to be
That's
something
how I
with her.
felt,
Bitch
because
was
it's like-
suspicious.
because like at the same time, it's like in my head, I knew Fujimoto was gonna do something, and he did, but
Just
and-
wishing
and-
for
but
Denji to
I
have a
s-
happy life.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's like these guys have like proper chemistry and stuff. She's taking him to school. They're having a fun time. They're going out to like, I think they're like some, what is it? Was it like a pool at the school? Is that
Yeah,
what it
Yeah,
yeah. They broke
Was
into
it
the
a-
school and they were just having fun. They were just doing teenage
Yeah,
fun.
and then she was teaching him how to swim, and then she was saying like, oh, and she was trying to like teach Denji all these different things and try to like lead him down a good direction. So it's like in my so I was thinking, I was like, okay, like maybe this could be something. And then we get that one chapter where it's like the festival's going on, there's a whole bunch of fireworks, and we have that one panel of her and him kissing. And I was like, okay, this is a good moment. But then you get like that panel where it's like it's all dark. You see like their characters, like they look like these shadowy figures. And then the next panel's like she bites off his tongue. That's like,
That shit was
I knew this
shocking.
was gonna happen, but it's like
Yeah.
I didn't want to believe it.
Well, do you think
And then-
she's dead? I don't think she's
I
dead.
don't- I think it. I mean, as of well, when I did my video on it, like I said, she was dead, but it's like maybe Makima might try to get information out of her.
Yeah, that's
So that's
so.
the only thing I can see with.
That's what I
if
was
she-
getting,
if
'cause-
Rize's gonna, if she's gonna do anything, at Rize would be to get information out of her, because Rize has connections with the Gun Devils. I would assume she would try to ask her questions about that.
Yeah, I
All
figured.
she really has to do is just give Rize blood, and she's fine. So.
Well, yeah, we
I
don't
know.
because we don't know the full way to kill the hybrids yet. We just know that it's
Yeah.
something to do with their hearts. She got her heart pierced, but we don't know if it's just pierced heart, so you have to destroy it or what. I don't think she would kill her because she's obviously like a huge well of information, and I'm hoping she's alive just so I can see later like Denji find out they've been like keeping her like locked up and like for like
Yeah, like,
torturing
that's
her or
the
something.
thing, like, I want to
information.
see Denji's reaction to all of this. Like, I don't think he's seen like what Makima's doing behind the scenes. Like, he obviously he cares about Rize. He was at the coffee shop waiting for her to arrive. The door opened. Power ended up being there. But it's like, even after all that shit she pulled, like he still
Yeah,
has a
'cause-
thing for her. So like, I'm curious, like if he's like ever gonna like catch on like what Makima's doing.
Yeah, because
Obviously us as the readers, yeah,
Because when it came down to
us
it,
as the readers, we catch on instantly, but like,
yeah,
with
because
him, it's like
different.
she's pretty much like the girl that brought him everything. So it's like he always looks at her as this good person, but we know
But
that she's doing something evil. And so
yeah, when you think about it though, like he had the choice, like because we know he was conflicted about Makima and Reze, but
yeah,
when it came down to it, it was stay with the Devil Hunters, which is Makima, or go with Reze, and he was ready to ditch Reze and go with, or go ditch Makima and go with Reze. So I think when it'll come down to it eventually, like he's much more up for her because though Makima's got her whole like strings around him, like he
yeah,
actually
she
has.
knows how to play the game well.
She knows how to
Also,
manipulate him, but like even if they have good moments, like they don't have the same kind of like chemistry that he and Reze had. Like they had an actual thing going on. But
yeah,
it's just gonna. I think we'll probably snap him if he ever finds out like she's being held or something, and he just kind of go fuck it,
yeah,
fuck
that's
the
what I'm
Devil
thinking.
Hunters.
Because it's like I'm thinking of it in my head. It's like as soon as he finds out, he's probably like, "Yo, like, is this actually the kind of person you?" Because it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you had this like person been around you ever since you're a little kid, and then they raise you, and then eventually one day when you get older, you find out that they have like all these like dark secrets that they're keeping away from you. Like that's like how I see it with like him and Rize. It's like Reason brought him to a new. I mean, Makima brought him to a new light, and then once Denji finds out like all the evil things that she's doing, like that's how I really want to see like how his character is gonna grow from. It's definitely gonna be pretty interesting because Denji's not like the only character that looks at like Makima as like this good person. Like obviously Aki owes a lot to her as well. So I'm curious how other characters are going to like, open up to her after they find out what she's doing.
Yeah, they could go really, really dark if you want to have some world building in it too. They could basically turn Makima into be like, oh, the handlers just fucking decided to, kill Rize, and then just
Mm-hmm.
send Denji Wild Dog style to go attack the Russian bureau or some shit like that. It could just go really, really super dark, and then Denji find out like, oh, Rize's just been sitting in the basement, chained up for information.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
I definitely want to put it past him. That's something he definitely pulled.
Yeah, and one of the line that I wanted to focus on too that really got me was because Denji kept focusing on it. He was like, "Hey, why didn't you kill me right away? You could have killed me right away." And what we see as and whether or not she's dying or not, who knows? But like that final line from Rize is like, "It's because I had never been to school either," and that makes you think back to that first conversation they have about like she was kind of laughing like, "What, you've never been to school?" And that was all an act.
Yeah.
She was pretending to be like your normal schoolgirl when really her life was similar to Denji's, not in the same way, but they in the sense that they both didn't have a normal upbringing. They both
They were
pretty
just
bare bones
locked
with
up,
any privileges that they
used.
got.
They were just seen
Yeah,
as
definitely.
tools. They didn't have a childhood. I think that kind of like chemistry between them is really what started to shift Reze as well. And I'm really hoping she's alive and she gets out.
That's what I'm hoping too, because like I said it like multiple times, like when I was like talking about the chapters and stuff. It's like her character has like a lot of potential. Like she could really get fleshed out to become like a great character in the series. Like she already is one of my favorite characters in the series right now. But I feel like it would just be a waste if like that's all we see from her right now. Like I just want to get more on her because even like learning about her whole background and where she came from, like it makes you feel really bad for her even after all the things that she pulled.
Here's something we can talk about. What do you guys think about this like kind of chemistry going on? And when I say chemistry, I don't mean it doesn't necessarily mean love. It can be friendship or anything. But the chemistry going on between Aki and the Angel Devil, which I don't know if we've got an actual name for the Angel Devil, so I'm gonna say the Angel Devil.
No, I don't think he has a name yet.
Yeah, that's not only is that kind of been ratcheting up more and more, and then obviously we have the moment where Aki sacrificed a big chunk of his life to save him, but also recently, Angel Devil basically was like, "Yeah, no, I came so Aki wouldn't have to kill Rize here." So like that's an interesting like friendship or maybe even more, because it is 2019, almost 2020. Who knows? But like, it's interesting, their relationship. And do you guys have any takes on that or thoughts?
Well, yeah, because one thing that was like right before all this arc started is you had that guy dying, and Inaki was going to ask the Angel Devil to put him out of his misery. He didn't want to because he still wanted humans to suffer. And you are having him just trying to do his best to keep Aki happy, keep him kind of out of this unfortunate dark event that was going to happen. And the whole thing about like Aki's character is so interesting, but just like the way that he's kind of depicted as well, the way that his kind of like dead emotion appearance while still clearly caring a lot about anybody on his team, regardless if he gets along with them or not. I think it's kind of like really noting over to the Angel Devil, who now is starting to actually kind of like gain some emotions. Like a lot of the devils seem just by default kind of pieces of shit, and then later become like Beam. Like Beam seems pretty cool. Like regardless of being a devil, dude's a bro, and he doesn't seem to be very problematic.
Yeah, he's looking out for his friend when he was
Beam's
in
the
danger.
ultimate bro.
Yeah, I mean, like look at the whole part with the Katana Devil. Like Power just said fuck it and left, and then Beam is like trying his best to help while not dying.
Beam seems to be like the ultimate Denji fanboy. I think everyone needs that. It reminds me of. Are you guys caught up with One Piece at all?
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Bartolomeo.
Oh god, he's too much.
Who, Bartolomeo?
Oh god, I can't stand that. He's too much. He's like foaming at the mouth. Oh my god, that dude.
Bartolomeo is a representation of the One Piece fandom.
It's too fanboy to me. It comes off a little cringy. Like I think I could be around a lot of characters on One Piece, and even like the weird ones, I'd be like, whatever. You're just straight. Like Bartomella, I'd just be like, please, just get the hell away from me. What is wrong with you? Like I've seen a lot of fanboy characters, but god, that dude, too much. That Beam, Beam's about the right amount. Beam's like the perfect amount.
No, I agree with you. Beam takes it to a normal level.
He's a good boy.
While we're talking about Beam, can we talk about on the topic of subverting expectations? Denji's like, all right, it's time to use my powers in a smarter way. I'm gonna ride a shark and use my chainsaw whips as fucking tassels. Let's go.
Dude, that shit was
that was really cool too, especially like how that whole scene was
chainsaw reigns.
Yeah, it's like how the Typhoon Devil was like,
well, that whole panel is like the perfect way to when somebody's like, what is Chainsaw Man about? He's like, yeah, the main character. The main character is a 16-year-old Chainsaw Man hybrid riding a shark into a giant baby flesh tornado and a Russian like murder agent.
That's like literally David's fucking cover photo on Facebook right now.
It's man, so cool.
Panel.
Is it still though?
I don't know. It better be, but no, that
it is
kind of
not.
panel right there. Like, what we need to talk about now is how fucking perfect this series would be for an anime. It needs an anime.
That's what I was thinking.
It needs a good studio.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was actually like I'll add you guys to this chat later. I know Rax is already in it. But like I made a Chainsaw Man chat so I could like talk to a lot of people about it. And like one of the things that we were like discussing is like what studio would be able to adapt it, because one of the things that I don't want to happen when it gets an anime is for censorship, because
you don't want the 7 Deadly Sins treatment. Where all the blood is white.
That's just giving me nightmares, bro.
Not even the new episode.
It has to be like Hellsing Ultimate level, like
yeah. Like so, we were trying to figure it out. Like,
the 7 Deadly Sins anime just took a year off my life.
Dude, that was horrible. I don't even know how they got that passed. That was such.
I literally thought it was fake. I thought it was unimpeachable.
No,
that's what I thought.
So I saw, dude.
I saw when I was on Twitter. Yeah, I saw it. I was on Twitter like on Christmas Day. Actually, I don't know if it was Christmas Day or day after. But I was like, "What is this?" Because I know like people like if they're like a fan of the series, they go on YouTube and make their own fan animations. You see that stuff all the time. And I thought that was one of those cases.
Well, no.
Where
So
they're like, okay, guys, I made this panel.
So like 2 days before that, a dude's like, "Oh, I'm gonna release my fan animation. I don't care if it looks bad. I just want people to see my amateur." And then I saw it, and I'm like, "Oh, it's just this dude's fan animation," and they're all freaking out. And then I actually watched the episode, and the whole thing just looks bad.
And there's a lot of people out there who are like,
I've never seen an episode of an anime look that bad ever.
Yeah, a lot of people are looking at it. They're like, wait, like, is that like legit. Like a lot of people actually questioning if that actually came from the studio, but
I
it
saw
actually
the thing you
is.
liked on Twitter. Some guys like calling chibi reviews a dumbass, and it's like, no, you're the dumbass.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I was saying is like I understand it's hard to believe that came out of the studio, but it was. And the thing is, like, I feel bad for fans of that series because that moment with
Man.
Meliodas and Escanor is like a big part
Oh, that'd be
of the
worst.
story at that
Yep.
time. And it's sad that it had to go down that direction.
It's really even
We gotta
sadder
bring
because
back
like
Chainsaw Man. We need some like
Nakaba's got
fucking-
clean art.
My
I just
go-to always used to be Madhouse. I know they're not what they once were, but like we need some.
I mean, honestly, like Chainsaw Man, like it's not even like hyper crazy. As long as just get somebody that can deal with blood and gore, and you're pretty much good at that point.
But
Yeah.
it could literally explode if it got like.
Oh, it
It's
will.
asking for a lot, but if it got like One Punch Man level like animation, that could be so.
I mean,
good.
already
One
it's
Man
gonna.
Season 1.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Well, that was a lot by what Bones. I think Madhouse, but then like
that was
Bones.
Madhouse,
Yeah,
like,
but then
Madhouse-
Bones outsource. Then they outsource a lot to Bones.
I don't know what they.
I do know some animators from Bones. I believe helped out with that season, the first season.
Yeah,
of
I heard
Bones.
that I heard they outsource a lot. That's why season 2 looks so different.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. It's some whole different company. I think it's the company that did. Actually, no, I don't remember.
Well, Chainsaw Man has that kind of like super weird like vibe, like different than like you get a lot of like big seasonal stuff, you know, whatever the big hype train is. But like Chainsaw Man is kind of like more like what Goblin Slayer, where people are gonna get on it just because it's like vicious
That's
and
gonna
pretty
grab
raw.
attention, just by the name alone.
And the second
Oh,
it
yeah.
gets a good.
When gifs of that shit start circulating around, like,
Especially if you haven't read the first chapter and the main character, like in the first episode, the main character's dead, chopped up in a dumpster with a puppy. It's like, man, it's gonna be
Yeah.
really crazy.
It's like the one studio I was thinking of is like Wit, because I don't know what they're gonna do after like they're done with Attack on Titan. And
Just
I don't know if
who-
they're doing
wait.
season 2 of Vinland Saga anytime soon.
Is it Studio David that
like-
did Kimetsu no Yaiba? Just give them. Just like, here, take this. Do Chainsaw Man.
Studio David, who does JoJo,
I think they do
or is that
JoJo.
David Productions?
Oh yeah, David Productions. Yeah,
Whoever, yeah. I
they
think,
could do that
I'd take
too.
that.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be censored
can't be.
because
no,
there's,
there would be
specific
nothing.
scenes that have a lot of meaning behind them.
It would
that-
literally be a black screen if there was like, oh, let's censor the
Yeah, I
blood.
wouldn't like that.
You can't. Like Chainsaw Man is too gory. Like there are blood splatters on like every
As
3
he said,
pages.
First
It's
episode, he's fucking cut into pieces in a dumpster. I mean,
Yeah, it's
what do you do?
like the
Yeah,
same
and then he
thing I
goes
told
ham
you
on like a
before,
horde
right?
of zombies. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't censor it at all.
Yeah, it's like the same thing I told you before, Rax. I mean, because me and you talk about Kaisen all the time. And one of the things I told you about Kaisen when it gets an anime adaptation is I want the choreography scenes to be set up correctly because that's one of its biggest strengths.
Yeah.
Looking at Chainsaw Man's strengths, like
Well, it's the idea of censoring Chainsaw Man to me is such a mind-boggling because like you can do like a lot of shonen that's like, oh, we'll just censor some of the blood and then put lots more scratches. You can't censor Chainsaw Man; it doesn't
no, you
work.
can't, 'cause that's one
because
of its
he's
biggest.
It absolutely, yeah, it absolutely does
No.
not work.
Especially
Nothing
with
about it. It
how
would literally
those
just be a
fights go
black
down
screen.
and-
I mean,
So that's
can you
one of my
think of
favorite-
can you think of a single fight in Chainsaw Man that was clean?
No.
No.
None of them.
Let's not forget underrated moment. The perpetual. I don't know what he called it. The perpetual blood something.
Or
Where
the
he's like,
you just use
"I'll
a
just
professional
stick you with my
use of
chainsaw,
perpetual
shove
motion
blood into my
machine.
mouth so I can keep killing you."
Yeah, after he was
Oh, yeah, I remember-
slaughtering a dude for
wasn't it
3
like this-
days.
That was inside that building.
Yeah, it was
inside that
against the
building.
that was against the Eternity
That
Devil.
was around the time we started reviewing it on the channel.
That was the Eternity Devil,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, I remember that.
I
Yeah.
remember that chapter
And then he
very
was just in there
specifically.
constantly drinking the blood and constantly
Yeah.
fighting.
So that
Yeah, I
chapter,
remember
that whole portion was
I think
really
one of the
funny.
other
Poor
fights I
kid, where
like-
instead of bleeding to defeat crocodiles.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that whole fight is super memorable because that was like what some people like Chainsaw Man was starting to get a little bit popular. Now these people that were just hating on it because Fujimoto is so weird. Like the way he draws people, like he's not used to drawing humans as much. But the second he draws a monster, it's like super detailed and it's just like like just that page where they're running away from the Eternity Devil. You have like the main cast; they're all pretty normally drawn. Like he probably spent like 10 minutes on each of them. And then it looks like he
Yeah.
spent hours like detailing like the Eternity Devil with each hand and all its blood and like grotesque. Yeah, I love that aspect about it. It reminds me a lot of Made in Abyss. Oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I love his
Also,
designs.
As a Hunter x Hunter fan, like I can deal with some bad art.
I don't think there's any
Not even that it's
part.
bad.
I think it's just like I think he knows where to put a lot of his effort. I think he knows where it works for him. Like, have you read Made in Abyss?
My Hero Academia, like quality art.
I've
but,
seen
like,
the.
I have no problem with like sketchy styles. In
It's
fact,
like,
sometimes it can, like,
have you ever read Made in Abyss?
I watched it. The
haven't.
first season.
It's like the whole 3-gap art style. It's like the terrain is all super detailed, just really like kind of like concept art looking, where it's just extra beautiful. The characters are all like little cute and chibi, and then the monsters are nightmare fuel. It's just the way that they're all mixed. It's just like the kind of like the same kind of concept. Like, he's got like the buildings are all super clean in Chainsaw Man. The people look pretty clear cut. Like, a lot of the times, like, their designs aren't super standoutish, but then like you get the monsters, and it's just like, it just looks like you're delving into like a horror world.
And I think how good his writing is, that like even though the designs of the characters can sometimes be very like just generic or like hard to tell the difference between, like the characters themselves are so like vibrant and alive in their personality that like I still like like I fall in love with them in the same way that I'd fall in love with any other character, even though the art for them can be like weird sometimes.
I'm waiting for and then but then it's like Denji, normal Denji, and then like Chainsaw Denji. He just looks like a psychotic monster man. I need more hybrids, man. I need more hybrid characters. Which reminds me, like, do you think Aki's actually gonna die? I'm fully on the not die train.
I feel like he should. After all the hyping up for him to die, like,
here's
I mean, like,
let me
I definitely feel like he's gonna go out with a bang.
let me just put this across. Like, so you have this author who just will kill almost anybody at any point in the series, no warning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had all the members of the main cast, like Himeno and, you know, all that group, Rai, and you had them all kind of like building up dead, like the next arc. I love the idea of Aki constantly being built up to die, and he's the only one that doesn't die. And it's just everybody else is just like, oh yeah, I tripped, and then like my head exploded. But Aki, because like with Aki's whole thing is he wants the Gun Devil dead, and you know there's nothing more important to him in the world than that. I just imagine him somehow becoming a hybrid, because the Future Devil said he would die in like the most horrible way for him, and I can just see, like, for him becoming a devil is pretty much his humanity dying, and for him, like, the worst thing.
That could be like oh well, you didn't die. Your personality died. You died, but you're still alive.
Yeah, just as some other being. I just want to see that, like, this future sight swordsman, cursed bladed man, immortal.
Yeah, that would.
And
I mean, even if he does end up dying, I definitely expect him to, like,
I really hope he doesn't die.
Oh no, I don't want him to die either. He's one of my favorite characters.
I just love that idea where it's just like, no warning, kill practically any character, and then the one guy is just like, he's gonna die possibly soon, doesn't die.
Yeah.
Super just
character deaths. I appreciate an author that can just kill without warning, because that makes me so much more on the edge of my seat when I'm reading a chapter, because you have no idea who's safe and who's not. You know.
I mean, I think other than,
like, with the exception of the main cast, any of the side characters could die at any moment.
He's vicious. I'm worried. Actually, the one that's very much kind of in that area between those two areas, I'm really hoping Kobeni doesn't die. Can't ever die.
Oh.
Dude, I like Kobeni. She's so awkward. She's just like this awkward girl that got her life fucked over. Doesn't really have.
Yeah, she's the one that's like, oh, I can't quit because the benefit package is so good, right?
Yeah, she's just got like, we don't even know her power yet. She's just got a knife, and she's super parkour acrobatic. She's just knifing up people.
She's like ultimate millennial energy. Just like, oh, I wanted to quit, but too much student loans, my medical debts.
No, she's not even paying for herself. She used to pay for her brother because her parents like her brother more. It's like, this poor girl. But like, I knew that she at least wasn't gonna die because.
Take your pick.
I know, poor girl. I mean, she seems very real to me, just because like everybody else is just like, oh, they gotta hide these monsters all the time, and then she's just like freaking out. Like every single time she sees a monster, she just is freaking out. She's just terrified. She doesn't want to be there.
It seems like a really hard world to live in, Chainsaw Man.
Oh, it seems awful.
Yeah.
It seems completely just like.
And that's one of the vibes, and I'm glad that we brought this up. one of the running themes I love about this series is like the constant reminding of the fact that like normal people do not go into devil hunting. You know, like if you are a devil hunter, something's a little off with you. You
Oh
know
yeah,
what I
the
mean?
crazier, the ones that stay longer is because they're insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like normal people with emotions and
Like look at Kishibe. It was like, oh cool, training arc, and then it's like, what are you gonna do to train us? It's like, I'm gonna hunt you guys for the next couple weeks.
That was the best. I was so excited for that when that shit started happening. I was like, how is Chainsaw Man, the manga that subverts all expectations, gonna do a training arc?
He's just gonna hunt the shit out of them. And they're like, all right, what we have to do to beat him is be smart.
I loved Power and Denji working together in
Either
those like montages. That was so good. She's like, we gotta use our brain. Big brain strategy time.
she just put on glasses and tied her
Yeah,
hair
that was
back,
fun.
and she's like, I'm smart now.
Yeah.
Power is
That was some funny stuff.
Dude, I can't wait to see like how powerful she gets, like with her super horns, and just eventually she's just gonna become a monster.
I love Power. Like she's weirdly like I don't know. She's strangely wholesome in a weird way. Like I was really glad that she walked in because I think Denji needed someone there. He needed a friend, and like Power, yeah, you know, she has a tendency to betray him and just leave, or you know, or whatever, be a dick to him.
Just up and it's like, oh, he got shot. I'm leaving.
They do.
Sorry.
Kind of weird, like, don't they kind of act like siblings though? Like whenever they're together, they do kind of like bicker like siblings. Like, I feel like they really have each other's back. I don't know.
They're like an old married couple, but they hate each other.
I love it. It's weirdly wholesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. How long are you guys thinking about making this? Do you want to start wrapping up with final thoughts?
Bother me. I'm just sitting here chatting.
Yeah.
Maybe like 10, 20 more minutes, because I have to. I think David and I both work. I work at
Oh,
5 a.m.
okay.
and I don't know what David works.
Oh god, don't remind me. I gotta go back to work tomorrow.
I don't gotta go back to work till
Maybe
Thursday.
like 20 minutes to find some other topics and wrap up. But we could definitely do more of these. Like I really enjoy it.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure.
Yeah. So maybe we could end off with like where we see the series going from here.
All right, did you check out the new chapter? Did you check out 53? It's all fan translation. I'm trying to get more into towards supporting the official release, but I had to take a peek. Not gonna review it.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Unofficial that I read was One Piece because I was getting spoiled again and again and again on Twitter.
Oh, it's always gonna happen.
Yeah, because I know the ones. I know they have like these fan translations for My Hero as well, but I'm just
some of the fan translations right now are awful.
Ruins like my experience reading a chapter if it's like shitty like translations. I'm like,
yeah, that's because there could be like because one thing I always bring up
the
when it comes to things like
manga
that is
stream
the
Bleach.
wording. Like the wording matters.
For sure, especially in like how detailed like the character writing is in this series. It really does.
Yeah, that's why I want to make sure, like, if I'm reading the chapter, I want to make sure that I'm getting the right information.
Yep.
Well, I'm trying to.
Let's say I
was gonna say that, and then kind of that, and then trying to help more official release, trying to help that aspect.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Oh yeah,
I'm kind of
whenever volumes come out, I will be buying.
Yeah. Oh, Chainsaw Man volumes, 100%. Chainsaw Man volumes are awesome.
Early next year.
I love how every single
Chainsaw. Tyson got him in January.
Yeah, I got mine. The thing I was gonna say that I love that all the just as a side note, I love all the Chainsaw Man volumes are like colored with like candy palettes. It just all looks like it looks like candy wrappers. It's like the first one. It's like orange and lime green, and then you open it, and it's just blood and gore. You got like Kameno, and it's like mints. You got like mint leaves.
It's metal anime to be very metal.
It's gonna be vicious. I'm really hoping it starts out with just like a chainsaw being revved.
Oh,
it's gonna be so fucking cool.
Right? Like the opening's gotta be like.
It's just somebody's trying to start up a chainsaw, and it's just like Denji's heart beating.
Or for the anime
in the background.
Dude, it would be so cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like on like One Punch Man level where it gets like all that hype and excitement.
If it's like by Bones or by Madhouse, it'll have some like scream metal, like auto-tuned. It's just destined.
I love it.
Their go-to.
That's gonna be exciting, and like we can say it here, make it official, boys. Before it gets an anime, we are the Chainsaw Man hipsters. They can never take that away from us. God damn it.
Oh yeah, it won't go. Luckily, so one of the things I wanted to say, it's very luckily because of the tone of Chainsaw Man, is we're not gonna get like the toxicity of like what what Kimetsu no Yaiba's gone through.
Levels, right?
Well, no, my hero was smart. They've isolated and quarantined the infection. My Hero Academia fans are the good ones. Boku no Hero Academia fans are the bad ones.
Ah.
They've isolated the problem. If you're bad, they just like, okay, get out. They put them in the bad kid room. All the specials.
Bad kid.
Maybe they should
Yeah.
maybe they should structure that way with Yaiba as well. They can put like Demon Slayer fans and then Kimetsu fans.
Well, put the Demon Slayers the bad ones. It's way less interesting sounding.
Demon
Yeah.
Slayer fans are the ones that like just now started anime, and they're like,
Oh
"This is
yeah,
the best anime."
yeah. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Can I rant? That
Yeah,
is the
go
most
ahead.
overhyped fucking anime in the world. Okay?
It's-
It's got pretty animation, but like
So
beyond that,
See,
meh
no, so-
characters, meh plot.
The thing of where it is, the series, what I would agree, if people actually got to, is the villains are actually fleshed out really well. The villains are actually really likable. The main character, he's cool, he's not great. I like the author's choreography, but like, if people were gonna hype up Kimetsu no Yaiba, it'd be like, yeah, the villain, like the upper moons are all really cool. Where
Yeah,
it's at
'cause, like,
now,
one of
I'm
the-
just like, it looks really
One of the
nice, but
things that bothers me about like the Yaiba anime, not saying that I don't like it or anything, it's the fact that people allow animation to carry their thoughts. They don't
Yep.
ever look deep into the story or the characters or anything. It's kind of like that doesn't exist. It's just pretty pictures in front.
oh yeah,
of
one of the
Very
parts,
low effort mentality to have, right?
one
Like,
of the
there's
parts
people
about
that'll
the
just
the
sit down and,
anime.
like mindlessly watch like a shitty fucking reality show and be like entertained by that.
Well, yeah, everyone was
Yeah.
hyping that scene where he kills that one dude, and then he has like the big fire wheel, and then that part gets like explicitly circle jerk. But then like there's that one part where Tanjiro kills that one spider chick, and she just embraces death to end like the life of killing people. And I was like, why didn't you go with something like that, where you get like this really cool like demon accepting serenity and tranquility?
They don't
And
care
instead
about
it's-
the
it's-
deep meaning behind
all
anything.
if you look at all the anime that like became really popular and like became like mainstream, it's like One Punch Man, great animation; Attack on Titan, great animation. Like I feel like it's almost sadly a prerequisite that you have to have like godly animation to even suck in like the mainstream normie people.
No, you just gotta. They gotta pick up the strategy. You just gotta do the Black Clover anime. Have like, animation, and then it's like the parts that matter, and then go like ape shit, and then just
You
be
know
like
how that's
shovel.
gonna be with Kaizen Racks. They're gonna start freaking out if it has pretty animation.
I'm like, well,
nice choreography.
I don't.
What,
Kimetsu no
studio
Yaiba-
got Kaizen?
Unconfirmed
What
yet.
studio
It
got
hasn't
Kaizen,
been
do we know?
confirmed yet.
The only
Rumors
thing
are
we do know
Mappa,
is,
rumors
like,
are Bones, but
the
who knows?
voice actor for like the four main characters. That's all we know so far.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I just started reading that because like Thurman, the other guy on our channel, has been like begging me to read it, and I just started yesterday. And I gotta say, I like the premise of like the hey, you can either die now or you can go eat all these fingers and then die. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
oh yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen's super
I'm on
solid.
something else, aren't I? I'm sorry.
Oh no, Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, we're talking about that too, because we're talking about that
Yeah.
the animation and whatnot.
My bad.
Luckily, luckily for Jujutsu Kaisen, similar to Chainsaw Man, I don't think it'll suffer some of the toxicity that will like leak over.
it'll be like mid-tier popularity.
Like, I don't think any of those the people that like latched on at Kimetsu no Yaiba, they're super like, this is the only anime that matters now. I don't think a lot of them weirdos will get on to Chainsaw Man. I think it's too
Yeah.
vicious
That's
for
why I
them.
call it Demon Slayer.
It's like the people.
Yaiba is like just generic Japanese title to me. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Demon Slayer just sounds so generic to me, though. I can't. I like
It
Kimetsu no
does,
Yaiba a little
but,
bit
like,
more.
The show's generic, so it's okay.
Actually, I like the rough translation where it's like, what is it, Sword of Demon Destruction. I'm like, all right, that sounds a little bit more fancy. Let's just go with that. Fuck it. But unfortunately
Maybe not,
for
makes a bad taste in my mouth too.
a little, that one does, but like in an ironic way. I still like
I
it
don't know,
better
just
than.
sounds weird. Just like
It's weird, but there are way worse titled anime out there.
oh yeah.
All the like hipster title ones, but will bother me until the end of time. I hate them. Like, the time I got reincarnated as a diet soda in an all non-diet soda drinking world, and I was like, please, I get it. You're trying to be quirky with the name, but just call it something else.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't watch I couldn't watch the reincarnated as a slime. Like anything with a title like that will just annoy me to no end.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I'm not a
And
huge
this
fan on a lot of.
Isekai 99.
I'm not a huge fan on a lot of
Watch
isekais.
an isekai. Watch Konosuba.
There is an isekai coming up getting anime. I'm super. I'm stoked for it. But I was gonna say like because unfortunately for Kimetsu no Yaiba and unfortunately for old KidOtaku here, My Hero Academia has a lot of those unfortunate fans that make their fandom look horrible. I don't think Chainsaw Man. I don't think will have that problem.
That's the
I try to
problem
not
I'm
let that
having right
ruin
now.
The product for me though.
Oh yeah, well
Yeah.
they have a lot of shippers in the My Hero Academia fan. Shippers won't survive in Chainsaw Man.
And those are the same people that'll like call the author a pedophile if they draw.
Yeah, it's so retarded. I can only imagine just like shippers, like, and then they get like attached to Himeno, and then it's like
No,
five
that's what I'm
minutes
waiting
later, and it's like,
for,
sorry,
like,
man.
when the whole Denji and Rize thing.
Oh my god,
It's like,
when that gets animated.
just
Oh,
all the
man,
sadness.
Oh god.
Oh, it'll be glory.
And
Oh,
she's like, how dare she do this to him? Why is she biting his tongue?
the only
Make up
like
these
kind of
super
like
hardcore
sad.
girl eats
Oh
tongue
yeah,
for breakfast.
the only sad one I could see like attracting these people is like, oh, well, Aki and the Angel Devil are gonna be gay together. It's like, stop, please, go away.
I mean, they're gonna fanboy over Aki calling him hot. I already know the girls.
Oh,
Same thing that people are gonna do with Gojo too.
Oh, old Goat Joe. He's gonna hoard in fangirls. It's gonna be an interesting time.
It's like Shoto still does.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I like a lot of other characters besides Shoto.
Oh,
But just
Todoroki.
because he looks hot, girls like him in My Hero.
I don't even care about, like, he's weird because like I don't think I've ever really cared about his character, perfectly honest. And then we were talking about earlier, like I don't know how Ida got top 10 in the popularity poll. Dude hasn't done anything. Kind of like Yuta got what, number 7 in the first Jujutsu Kaisen poll, and the dude's only in 4 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to me. I mean, I don't know. Some characters stick. Somehow Luck has made top 10 every Black Clover poll.
We need to have a chainsaw. I don't think we haven't had a Chainsaw Man poll yet. We should get one.
We should soon. It just hit a year. Maybe it'll. I think it's sometime over the first year, because I know Jujutsu Kaisen had its first in like chapter 60. I think that's when they had their first poll.
Yeah. I'm curious who number 1 would be.
It'd be Denji. I imagine it'd be. It's gonna be kind of hard when half the characters are dead. It's gonna be hard. Half the characters Chainsaw Man.
I know Bakugo's like been the main one for like 4 polls for My Hero.
I don't think he's ever lost one of the polls.
Yeah.
I think he's always
been bouncing back and forth to like 2 and 3.
Denji will take 1. Awesome manages to take first, like champ. Good times though. All more if Denji doesn't. It has to be Denji or Aki. Like I can see Aki kind of taking it, but I think it'll be Denji's too goated.
I can see Power like being like 2.
Yeah, Power.
Sorry about that, guys. I actually got a call from my work boss, so I had to make sure I actually had to answer it. So I really quickly muted my mic on OBS and my mic on this. We're good. I just I get to come in later tomorrow, not 5 a.m. but 8 a.m.
Good,
so that's good. But what were we talking about? Fill me in.
Oh, we were just talking about like popularity poll.
We were talking about popularity polls because like we were like talking about like popularity polls like My Hero and Kaizen and then Black Clover.
Because Chainsaw Man should be getting its first poll soon.
Where like Chainsaw Man should be getting one soon. I would think.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. Do you think it's gonna fall into the thing that it always falls into, where the main character is always the most popular for some reason?
Not all. We were just saying poor Deku has not been first place once. Bakugo has taken first every poll.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
People like him. So
this is now turned. Okay, this video is getting a part 1 and a part 2, at least on my channel. It's gonna.
Have you checked out?
And then just random bullshit.
Have you checked out like the one shot for My Hero or like Barrage or any of Horikoshi's previous series?
I love Barrage. Okay.
Like the one shot.
Moment here. May I just?
The one shot for Barrage. Have you read the one shot?
I don't know about the one shot. Wasn't Barrage like a 16 chapter series?
Yeah, so the one shot, the main character is pretty much Bakugo. Like Bakugo is pretty much who we wanted the main character to be. It's kind of like with One Piece. Like Zoro is pretty much who Oda wanted to be the main character. And then Like if it,
But with Barrage though, I just want to like fanboy teensy bit about Barrage.
I wish Barrage.
Have you read all of Barrage?
Yeah, I wish Barrage was the one. I like My Hero, but I love the concept of Barrage. I thought the main character was so cool.
Barrage's concept drew me in so much. And I remember reading that weekly. Like I still have the tab that I never deleted on like the upper right of my laptop where it's like, you know, Barrage once every this day, and it was like some janky manga site that I.
But it was so cool. Like the powers were neat. The character, the Days of Manga Panda.
But yeah, if you haven't read Barrage, and I'm not talking to the audience now because this is still a video. The concept is essentially, and spoilers if you want to go read it yourself, do that. So spoilers, but like, it's this like, and
it's Freaky Friday.
It's been a while, but it's like a prince who like doesn't want to be a prince anymore, and he's like, you know,
what's that?
Happens to look exactly like this kid.
What's that movie?
Like,
The Parent Trap.
You want to be prince? Cool. And then he puts all of his clothes on him and shit, and he starts to run away, and immediately gets fucking shot and killed by his guards. It's like, oh, Prince, are you alright? I was like, Jesus. So now this kid that's just like a homeless, like slumming it kid,
Astro,
is now the prince, and it was like such a good premise.
Astro, dude, it was all awesome. I love the art. The weapon was cool. Like he had this giant, like he had this like crazy looking cosmic spear that could also turn into a sword, and it was gonna like shapeshift between all these weapons. And there was like this intergalactic trade war, and all the powers were all like from dark matter. It was so cool. Like the one shot. I mean, the one shot he was pretty much Bakugo, and he had a black hole for an arm. It was really crazy. He rode like a space whale.
Whoa.
I do like My Hero. I really wish Barrage is more popular. Like I like Black Clover more for Tabata, but like the power style, I don't like for Hungry Joker was crazy. I don't know if you've read that.
So how much of our channel have you seen, Rax? Do you know Thurman, the other guy on our?
No, I've looked at some of it. It's weird to me whenever I look at somebody's channel that I've talked to or plan to talk to.
He's a big Black Clover fan. He loves Black Clover.
Okay.
He's like the Black.
He needs to go away.
Oh, not nice.
What did David say? Was he mean?
He wants that guy to go away. Sounds like a nice guy.
I said he needs to go away because he likes Black Clover.
No.
Oh, David's just being edgy.
Won't happen.
The edgy boy of the channel.
Dude, Black Clover's awesome. Can't help it.
I just cannot get into Black Clover.
Well, how far did you get?
I read like 60-something chapters of it.
What? You can
here's the thing.
After 60, I thought you were gonna say like 10. Dude, Tabata is like so on the ball with foreshadowing and setup. Like,
no, I tried. I really tried.
Man.
You know what Rabbit is? It's like Skype, but you can like share screens.
Yeah. Man,
so like I fucking read it with Thurman because Thurman
60
was
chapters.
I read it alongside Thurman for 60-something. I was rating like the underwater temple arc.
Dude, that arc is so good. How did you drop there?
Just I don't like any of the characters. They are also hateable. Man,
no way. I love them.
I wish, and I'm not dissing, by the way. I'm not gonna be like some of those fucks that are like, if you love it, that's awesome. I'm really happy.
I'm so hyped. The new bad guy has got fucking bone magic. The dude looks like skeletal Doc Ock. It's gonna be awesome.
I like Luck. I did like Luck a lot.
Luck somehow has managed to be in the top 10 every poll. Keeps somehow managing to be top 10.
Characters in general, don't you, Red?
Killua was my favorite character of anything ever. Killua from Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, he's
one day the Hunter fans will receive another chapter. Hey.
Hunter x Hunter. One day he'll come back, or Togashi will just die.
Oh no! They just announced a new Dragon Quest anime. You're fucked for 2020.
Togashi will be too busy watching that.
Yeah, no chance. As long as Dragon Quest is putting out new stuff, you're never getting any more. Never getting more Hunter x Hunter. You might as well just read Jujutsu Kaisen.
I want to make a heist movie where the plot is like a bunch of Hunter x Hunter fans get together to like assassinate everyone involved in making Dragon Quest.
Oh God, you're gonna have to kill Toriyama.
No.
Have to kill old man.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean DBZ, Dragon Ball's fucking run its course.
Yeah, we don't talk about Super. By long
I'd rather
disappointment.
GT would have been canon than Super sometimes.
GT, they should have just reanimated GT, given like high HD Super Saiyan 4 instead of all these dumb recolors. Like, oh look, cool, another tournament arc.
Super Saiyan 4. They actually like put effort into a different.
Well, Super Saiyan 4, because like the forms, it looks like they're going somewhere. Like he's got the first one, then he has the lightning, and it's more defined, and then he's got like the bigger brow and the longer hair,
Yeah, I
and then it
never
becomes
really
Super
I never
Saiyan
really
4,
paid
and he's like
attention to it.
he's like a deity. He's like an actual, like he's closer to Sun Wukong. He looks like a Saiyan god, and then it's like the Saiyan god. He's like, oh look, I'm Kaioken, but I'm kind of shiny.
Yeah.
And then the
so low
naming,
effort.
the naming is so annoying. It's like the blue one, Super Saiyan.
God, Super
So
Saiyan
what
God,
annoys
God,
me
Super Saiyan.
is it Super Saiyan God while in Super Saiyan form, which means it's not Super Saiyan because that's two different powers. It should have just been Saiyan God, and the blue one should have been Super Saiyan God. And I hate whoever was on board for these decisions. Everything about Super just. I don't think anything about Super outside of like, oh cool, like Moro's kind of cool. I like the new Broly, and then the soundtrack is good, but like they're so lazy,
Ultra
and it's
Instinct.
the only thing I like about Ultra Instinct, it's like, oh, it's not a power level technique. It's like it's just like a skill technique. Other than that, I'm just like,
Yeah.
there's so little effort. Like Jiren is like such a boring character. He's just like, I'm powerful. And then like Frieza, poor dude Frieza came back to just be like, anytime a new bad guy, it's like, how powerful is he? It's like, how long can he beat up on Frieza? Poor guy used to be a badass. He used to be this like little midget alien lizard badass, and now he's just like a big punching bag. And I'm just like, what happened?
Yeah.
The only guy left right now out of coming back to be some big joke is Cell, and luckily Cell is just like off by himself.
Let's keep Cell, Cell
keep him
special.
pure.
Let's keep him away.
And I'm just
You have to keep
wishing
him where he is now.
I'm just wishing GT gets made canon. Like GT has so many good like plot, like layout. Oh, like the Black Star and Dragon Balls are fantastic. Actual consequences.
I want to go down the list. I want to hear everyone's top 3 favorite anime/manga of all time. I'm very curious.
Oh,
David,
my.
go.
What? We're starting with me?
Yeah, I'm going in order of like who's on Discord. At least you're on top.
Okay. I gotta say, number 1, Code Geass, forever, always. Fooly Cooly. I love it. It's just wacky. Shut your brain off. Beautiful.
Is the new one good? I haven't watched any of the new ones.
The new one, Progressive was good. Alternative was meh.
Oh,
And
that's unfortunate.
Just watch and judge for yourself. Progressive was just more of the shut your brain off, wacky bullshit. I love the headphone like shit. It looked like some Brookstone cat ear headphones.
I keep forgetting to look at the new one.
But alternative, I just couldn't like that one.
I feel like the way you're describing it, it's gonna be like me watching Eureka 7 and then watching AO, and it's just like, what do they do? What happened? I don't know if you've watched fucking AO, trash dumpster fire, of like one of the best anime I've ever seen.
Hey, what's your number 3, David?
I gotta say, and this is just me loving wacky shit, but panty and stocking with garter belt.
You'll get a season 2 one day.
I remember that.
Season 2 one day.
Finished the last 2 episodes of that. Oh yeah.
Okay, KidOtaku.
One day
what's
I'll
your
get you
top
to
3
watch it.
Oh yeah, I'm going to watch it soon for sure. KidOtaku, I'm curious. Top 3.
For me currently is like probably Attack on Titan, Hunter x Hunter, and I like Goodnight Pun Pun. It's I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a seinen series. It's not like battle oriented or anything. It's more like it's one of those series like you follow a kid from when he was a kid all the way till he grows up, and he goes through like different experiences in his life. Like he goes through depression, happiness, madness, all stuff that goes on in his personal life, his relationship, how it changes him as a person, and then his like the thing about him is like he doesn't look like a person; he looks like a bird. So it's like, but it's like as
he's like a sock puppet bird. Very strange.
But as his character evolves throughout the story, like the way his appearance changes, that's supposed to be like symbolism, like to represent like what he's going through at the time, if that makes any sense.
Oh, you know what? Actually, while I have you here, I'm curious. I see you tweeting a lot about B-Stars. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
So that's something I tried reading the first chapter way before I had an anime. and that's one where I really can't get past like the character design and art style because it's just like I feel very weird. I'm like I feel like some furry stuff, but like everyone's talking about how good it is. So like,
So like pretty much the reason why I like Beastars is mainly because of the whole like relationship between the carnivores and herbivores. Because like they pretty much you have like the carnivores and herbivores go to school, and they're not supposed, like the carnivores aren't supposed, they're kind of like, I guess, like the best way to explain it is like there's racism and segregation. I didn't say that right. I apologize.
Segregation.
But that's like the sort of themes that are like in this world. So we have like racism between the carnivores and the herbivores, because herbivores are supposed to act this way, they're not supposed to act that way. Carnivores are supposed to act this way, they're not supposed to act that way. That's why you have like the main character Legoshi, he's a wolf, and you have the main female character Haru, which is a rabbit. And you're not supposed to see species like that interacting because it's not in the culture. If you get what I'm trying to say.
yeah, is it anything like it's sounding like a darker version of what was the fucking Disney movie that kind of
Zootopia.
had something like this?
Utopia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Zootopia.
that's what I always compare
I
it
don't
to
know
when
if that's
NPC people
blasphemous,
talk
I
but
mean,
about
a lot.
stars.
It gets compared to that a lot. It's pretty much like a darker version of
Interesting.
Zootopia.
Okay, cool. Rax, what's your top 3 favorite anime?
Uh,
Of all time?
I gotta put 4 because one of them's super tight. So I will
that's
forever,
I'm gonna have
regardless
fucking-
regardless of opinion, I will forever ride the fairy tale train until death.
That's number 1?
Oh, dude, I love fairy tale so much. It gets so much.
Really, number 1 though. That's
So that's a lot to be another time. There's so many things that get overlooked. Like a lot of like the friendship stuff that people say, it's so overlooked. There's so many parts that could easily be explained if you just like pay attention to like parts that are like laid out in the series. But
yeah, no, I'm definitely
so
not that guy that's gonna fucking shit on you for like in fairy tale.
it's
There was elements of fairy tale.
I can go on for hours of like the similarities between like Natsu and Zareth and like the contrasting points between like how they live their lives.
Deku and Sugar Rock.
Dude, I
Like,
You
there's,
watch
Zareth's-
Taku at all? Rax?
no. I don't watch a lot of
You should. He just did a video that you might be. He's also a big like fairy tale defender in the community, and he did like an hour-long video about like basically what you're talking about why fairy tale does not deserve as much hate and how it's like a lot better.
Well,
than
no,
myths.
so a lot of it stemmed from chapter 22 when Sting surrendered and
Yeah.
what was it, King of Lightning got super on it. He didn't understand his character at all, and that still drives me insane. Like
King
if
of
you
Lightning is
like if you paid it,
cancerous.
I got
He's a
so
big
mad because
I love him, but like yeah.
if you paid attention to the dude's character, he was all about like wanting to win and be flashy and have that big heroic day because he had this huge promise towards his first ever fan because he grew up as a little fanboy. He got his first fan, made a promise to him that he would prove himself in front of all these people and have some big flashy win. And he didn't want to win by beating up 5 people that could barely stand because it would pretty much destroy everything that his character was built around if he did it. And then it was just like, oh, he surrendered because he's a pussy, and I'm just so annoyed the entire time.
Yeah, trust me.
Oh my God.
I want to do a video where I like jokingly but not jokingly like roast a lot of anime tube. And one of the people King of Lightning, I do love his videos, but he focuses way too much on like the power scaling aspect. That's all he cares about.
Like that's like I tend to read a lot of battle shonen, but the main reason why I like him so much is mainly because of the whole adventure aspect where you follow the characters throughout their story. They make new friends, they go through like personal things throughout the story. They come across all these different kinds of obstacles. That's mainly why I like them. Like I always focus more on like the story and characters. Sure, like flashy stuff is nice to see every once in a while, but that's not like the world to me. Like in order for me to really care about a fight is if there's meaning behind it. Like Deku versus Muscular, for example, there was meaning behind that because that was Deku putting his life on the line to save a little boy who never really cared about heroes because his parents ended up getting killed by Muscular and there was nobody there to save his parents at the time. So he looked at heroes as these bad people. They're like, oh, you're a hero. Why should I care about you? You never really did. It seems like people just throw the name hero around and it doesn't really have like any value to it. So like when Deku like put his life on the line to show him like how he was willing to put his life on the line to save him, it like opened his eyes, where he's like, okay, this kid that I never met in my life is putting his life on the line for me. Like, why is he doing? Like, there needs to be meaning behind something. Like, if it's just a fight where people are punching or kicking, I don't care.
Well, yeah, because like here's the thing: if if you don't love a character and you don't like feel for their strife and like what they're doing, they're just a fucking bunch of lines. You know what I mean? Like what a fictional story needs to do is make you feel for this world and this character so much that like you forget that you're watching a bunch of moving
Yeah,
pictures
it's
and like you get
the
sucked
whole
into
goal of
world.
escapism. If you're failing at that, then you're failing as a story writer.
So like I think people can get a little too caught up in the power scaling aspect of it when really like what is amazing about any fight is like you said, the caring, you know, why the fight is happening. That's one of the reasons I love One Piece so much. I think Oda has this down to a science. He makes you fucking despise the villain. The whole arc is like, here's this villain and why he's so trash and why he's awful.
Yeah.
And when Luffy punches him in the fucking face, it's gonna feel good, you know? I love that shit.
Well, man, I never hated Crocodile even for a second. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of Oda's villains, but I do love Crocodile. Crocodile's just badass.
Let's not forget Crocodile. Like, you know, he like made it so I think he was pretty responsible for like the drought on Alabasta, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, Crocodile was like afterwards, like he was keeping everything up. I mean, he was focusing on expansion. He was pretty smart, like expanding his empire, and like at the same time, yeah, dude is awesome. I mean, like, I know Doflamingo is super popular, but that's like I look at like a lot of Oda's villains. I'm not a huge fan. The thing actually that bothers me, I think, more than anything about Oda is he keeps having all this really cool stuff in all the movies and not canon. Like film Z being not canon, I'll never be able to get over.
Yeah,
like Film Z was great.
I definitely feel you on that.
Like Zephyr,
I need to watch Film Z again.
Zephyr had a really good story, he had a really good design, he didn't need a devil fruit, he had lore, impact, and importance, and his out was awesome. Like the whole scene, the music, it was just badass. And then it's like, oh, it's not canon.
Awesome. I don't know if you guys are caught up. Oh my god.
I like the backstory. I don't like Odin.
That's fair.
Odin feels like a fan fiction character. Like everybody really likes him. Like seeing Whitebeard and Roger though is like pretty awesome. Like seeing old Whitebeard. The whole notes between like a little hints of Blackbeard and the whole fact he doesn't sleep.
That shit is intriguing to me.
There's a lot of interesting stuff on it. I really wish this was just a flashback about Roger or Whitebeard. I'm just like, I don't care about Odin. I don't care. I'll see Kaido.
Like, I think we're gonna get a Roger-centric flashback at one point as well, where we get even more of Roger's stuff.
Hoping so. I'm pretty salty that he off-paneled that fight between Whitebeard and Roger, but he's off-paneled like every big fight since the time skip.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying. Like, and I'm hoping though that like the big test for me, because I feel you. We did a whole video on our channel about like Oda stop fucking off-screening shit.
Well, I got an argument with somebody on Twitter, and they're like, "Why would he show that like this at this point in the story? It's an Odin flashback." I'm like, do you think there's even one Piece fan that would complain like, "I gotta read a fight between Prime Whitebeard and Prime Roger"? It's like absolutely nobody in the fan. Like I wouldn't consider myself a One Piece fan. I'm a casual reader, but at the same time, I would want to see that fight because it's like the big pinnacle pirate. You got Roger, the guy who started pretty much everything, and Whitebeard, like big old goat man, but finally in his prime. Finally seeing like him without like being sick, and it's like sweet clash. And we're probably never gonna get to see that fight now.
Is gonna be what happens in this like war, because like obviously we're about to have like the raid on Onigashima, right? And like usually Oda, the way Oda structures his arcs are like he has the beginning, which is more plot focused. Like you can look at Water 7 and Enies Lobby is a perfect representation of this. Like you have the plot focus, and then like Enies Lobby was like all fight. It was just like fight after fight after fight, all that was shown. So I'm gonna hold off and see what he does when we get back to Onigashima and Wano. And if he's off-paneling fights there, then I'm gonna fucking go off on him.
I'm hearing I'm salty as fuck. When he off-paneled Sanji in page 1. Yes! I got mad because Sanji used to be my favorite Straw Hat, and ever since the time skip, like he's pretty much New Age Yamcha, and he just gets beaten up. He doesn't get that good of a deal. Like Frankie and Brooke have gotten treated better, and it's like, oh cool, he's finally gonna get someone. He's got like a common rider suit, and he's fighting Page 1, who I was salty as hell. I was like, because what's his name, X-Drake. I was like, man, I can't wait to see his hybrid form, and then his hybrid form looks goofy as fuck. And then we got Page One's hybrid, and the dude looks like Killer Croc, and I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. He's fighting Sanji, and then it's off panel. It's like, what did you do to this guy? What is your
Well,
beef?
that's one of the things too. Like, I'm gonna go whenever that shit hits in the anime. I'm going there because like I have a feeling the anime is gonna pick up the slack on that one.
Can you imagine? I'm gonna have just a little sad moment if they don't even bother giving that animation in the anime. I'm just like, what are you doing?
They better not.
Poor guy.
No, but like I said, to me, it's all gonna be about how much of the fights they show.
The only
back to Wano.
The
Now
only
this next part of
thing
the arc, this should be the fight part. He's said all the plot. It's fight time.
The only part of this whole arc that I want to come true is I'm waiting for 4th gear Tiger Man. I need it to happen. Oda's a super huge boner for a Japanese like culture lore and stuff. He's been wanting to do Wano forever. And like how many symbolic pictures are like, you know, that Eastern dragon finding a tiger.
Exactly.
And also, I don't know if you've ever talked to Pro Zypher. I got into a huge argument with him one point over this because he's like, oh, it's all this foreshadowing with Mori and stuff. I don't get along with him. I just really want to be like, I predicted something big in One Piece and you didn't. And Gear 4th Tiger Man. For one, it's cool, but at the same time, if I'm right, then I get to be like, dude, I'm a super One Piece casual. You're like a One Piece fanboy. If I can outpredict him in just one thing,
I get the same way with him and My Hero too. Like I love My Hero as well. Like that's why I'm so excited to see like what Horikoshi's doing right now, because it seems like this year is more build up for the villains. Now it seems like next year's gonna be more build up for the heroes, and then we're gonna enter the war after.
All Might's gonna get dusted.
Incredibly endgamey, and I have a hard time believing it's gonna end. But
I don't think it'll end.
I personally look at it. I personally look at this being like this upcoming war is kind of like it's like Marine.
Yeah,
it's like a Marine.
I think he's gonna end it being called My Hero, and he's gonna have a different name because it can't be My Hero Academia forever, like when they're adults and shit.
Yeah,
because I sort of feel like this being like one of the points where it's like, okay,
he said that
the way I see this war ended up being is like the villains are gonna win, and that's what Shigaraki's gonna rise in power. He's gonna destroy everything just like he wants to, and he's gonna take control of Japan, and that's when the heroes need to figure out, okay, what are we gonna do next?
It's like, yeah, it's that big like all is lost moment. They gotta come out.
Goal literally just to destroy everything.
He loves destruction.
Why would he like sit on top of like a corporation or whatever, like fucking All For One did, or just like have like minions and shit? Wouldn't he just want to just go around destroying?
He's building it up for the war. He's building everything up and get ready for like a big.
The way I personally
afterwards, like
just looking at like where he came from and like in his past, because like when we got into like his backstory, we were learning a little bit more about him, and that's why that's why with like how Rax is with like Natsu and Zeref, I love the parallels between Deku and Shigaraki, because we both see them start from zero and we both see them like grow throughout the story. So we're not only seeing the protagonist grow throughout the story, we're seeing the villain grow throughout the story as well. And we see that him and Deku weren't far off. Like they both wanted to become heroes when they were younger, but because of this issue that his father had where Nana Shimura left him at a young age, because you know, when you're like young and you're like 3 or 4 years old, you're not gonna know like, okay, I'm putting my life on the line to save millions of people from this guy that's looking to kill not only me but my family as well.
Right.
Because it's in a hero's code to put your life on the line in order to, you know, save other people, and that's what Nana was trying to do. And he felt like he was being neglected. And then as he was growing up, he just didn't really like Hero. He just didn't really get like, okay, why do all these people do all these things? And that's when he found out his son wanted to become a hero. He was like, no, I don't want any of this in my house. So it's like, you know, past experiences affected him as a person growing up. And then he started taking out his anger and frustration on his son. And then that's where like Shigaraki felt like he didn't really have anybody to go to besides his sister. And then we had that whole thing happen where they got into an argument. He ended up going outside because that was Shigaraki's punishment. And he ended up holding his dog. And then that's when his decay quirk activated. He killed his dog. He ended up killing his sister, his mom, his grandma, his grandpa. And then he pretty much just put the nail in the coffin where he killed his father, and he just started to embrace everything. And then he was wandering around.
backstory.
Yeah.
And something I do want to give props to on My Hero. One of my favorite elements of My Hero Academia is the focus on how like quirks really just play into society and like change people psychologically.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a lot of the backstories, a lot of them have to do with how their quirk shaped them.
Oh, my boy
Yeah.
Gentle.
Obviously, Deku, his lack of quirk shaped him and who he is. Shigaraki, what his quirk was, you know, because if his quirk was something like, oh, I have stretchy skin, it would not have, you know, it wouldn't have been like the nightmare that we got for Shigaraki.
Yeah.
So, and then you think like Toga, right? Like she developed this fixation about becoming people and drinking their blood because of her quirk. So like it really shows how like this quirk thing, which is just kind of like through genetics, humans really don't know how to deal with it because like it's a whole new element of their personality, and some people become obsessed with it and like they let their quirk shape them rather than them shaping their quirk.
You know, you mentioned it, so I'm even more curious. Like you said, you read Black Clover. How did you not like Raditz after like that kind of discussion? Because he was like a good guy, and you know he ended up kind of getting constantly discriminated because his magic was necromancy, and they just saw him becoming a villain until he pretty much got expelled out for being too much of a liability, and then he ended up becoming a villain, becoming a psychopath with this whole.
In the first 60 chapters?
Yeah, he was in the whole invasion of the capital. He had all the zombies because he talks to all his zombies like people.
Was he? Okay.
The only people he's really got. Ah, man,
All I can say
wish.
is like a
dude's so
lot of
cool.
the story is like presentation, how you know how it unfolds, yada yada. I think there was a couple main distracting features for me that made me not able to get into Black Clover.
Damn.
A big one was that I felt like a lot of the way the characters were written, they just really weren't likable to me. They like Asta I almost can't stand, and when a main character is that annoying to me, it's very hard to get through things. I really liked Yami, and I really liked Luck a lot.
Everyone's super. Man, I can't believe. I don't know, man. I love Austin. He's such a happy kid. He's a dummy, but.
Sorry, go.
I was just
The
gonna say
main
like
thing I'll
Austin.
say is I wasn't a big fan of the power system and the way they fought, and I know that people that like it really like it, but like I don't know, I'm not a big fan of like it just seemed like a lot of the fights were like summoning random bullshit and throwing at each other, and like I don't know, I prefer more like close encounters, strategy based.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of
I
it
don't know,
is
it just seemed like
very like strategic ones because like
Swords of Revealing
they're.
Lights.
Okay, hang on. I was gonna say just as we eventually got there, number 2 pick is definitely Yu-Gi-Oh, and I fucking love Yu-Gi-Oh. Dude, Yu-Gi-Oh especially is so weird because so many people only know it from the dub and they don't know how fucked up Yu-Gi-Oh actually is. Like
They
how
send motherfuckers to hell, okay?
I mean, Yugi kills like even just season 0. Yugi kills multiple people. Kaiba like straight ditched people on the ocean and then laughed at him and said that they should pray to at least be eaten by gourmet fish. Dude's a savage. He's still my favorite rival in Shonen by leagues.
By the way, one more thing I can say,
Kaiba.
Rex, is when it comes to power systems, I've never been a big fan of just magic in anything. Because I think that magic, it always has a tendency to just not be explained in the way I like. Like I like power systems that feel like a science. So like my favorite power system of all time is Nen, because like Nen is so well explained, it feels tangible. It feels like it could really exist.
Well, a lot of
I know every facet of.
Well, a lot of Black Clovers is
everything.
pretty.
I could write an essay on how Nen works. Whereas magic
he
and
could write a whole goddamn
Well,
video.
a lot of Black Clovers is just like general, like normal, like elemental stuff, like licked,
bores me,
like. I like the straightforward because then you get like stuff like, oh well, this guy's really OP. He's just light, and it's like, well, you know, you have someone like Nozel, where it's like, oh, he uses mercury so he can make reflective material. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense how you can counter this guy and do these things.
Yeah, you'll probably like Kaizen because Akutami that's how you pronounce the name.
Yeah,
right?
Akutami is like a big Togashi and Kubo fan.
Yeah, I heard that Thurman keeps describing it as like a mix of Bleach and Hunter x Hunter, and I do like both of those series. So I'm interested for sure, and I'm only on
like
chapter 2. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, especially when you get like more insight on like Gojo's cursed power, like that's why like when I was doing my review on the latest chapter, it was giving me like Tagashi vibes because of how in depth Akatami goes with like his ability itself,
Those
like how he can
200
use it in like multiple ways.
those
Wait,
299
Can I just
seconds.
gush about Togashi real quick? Like Togashi's writing style, like I've never before felt like an author was like perfectly speaking to the way my brain operates, because I actually have like clinical OCD. I have to like take medication for it, and I overthink things like just to an extreme. And like I love the way he writes the powers, because before I even have the question, he answers the question. So like, are you caught up?
I'm a bit behind. I'm not a huge Hunter.
Otaku?
I'm not a huge Hunter.
Yeah.
Other than
Okay, so do
Crollo.
you remember the chapter where I don't remember her name, but like there's the two girls that are twins that are both princesses, whatever. And one of them has like a tunnel.
What arc was
where
that?
She can like, and it's based off of their like childhood thing where they can like climb through the tunnel. Remember that?
Which arc was that?
This is the
That's in the,
current arc.
that's in the whole boat one.
Yeah.
Oh! You talk about how they saw that person inside the bedroom. Is that
Yeah.
you're talking
Remember,
about?
she can like climb through like the tunnel. And,
Yeah.
like, climb and then it'll like teleport. Or
Yeah,
something.
I know you're referring to. Yeah.
So there's a chapter where like in one page she's sitting there and she's like thinking about how to use this power, like, and she goes through every single possible, like, okay, well, if I do, what will happen if I climb through, and if I think of a destination while I open it, but then I change the destination while I'm in the middle of the tunnel, will that work? What if I open the tunnel and then open the exit of the tunnel right next to the tunnel? What if I open the tunnel and then close the tunnel while I'm in it? Do I have an alternate space to hide in? It's just so many details. I love it. Whereas Black Clover, I get the appeal of it, but for me it did just seem like, oh, what element does this guy control? Oh, well, I'll throw water at you. I'll throw fire at you. I'll bring up mirrors, and it just seemed like a bunch of like,
Man,
like
you never.
someone going to a Wikipedia and like random page. Okay, this guy controls cactuses. Go. That's what it felt like.
Wish you got to my boy Zora. It's Magic Batman.
Magic Batman.
Yeah, he's pretty much just a strategist. He's all about, and he's 100% about like laying traps and then baiting people.
Is that the guy that like?
He's got shark teeth. He's got like shark teeth.
Really fucking weird.
He got like shark teeth, and he's got like red hair, and he's got like all these like straps and piercing. He's my favorite guy. He's pretty much Magic Batman.
He looks pretty cool. I like his design.
He's just a huge asshole.
But yeah, like another series I love to death is, and then you'll get the vibe of what I like, is Full Metal Alchemist. It's one of my favorites, and like that power system, it just feels so like tangible and real. I love it.
And science. Magic science.
That's why I said you'll probably like Kaizen, because of like how Akatami handles the power system in that series. Because like I had to read that chapter at least 2 to 3 times to get the full grasp of what was going on.
Oh yeah. Some of the times Akatami's like the whole like explanation of how like reverse technique works, and you're just like, okay, magnets. Okay, I think I kind of get it.
All right. Well,
multiplying
this has been a great
negativity.
conversation, guys. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
I
just for David's sake.
Yeah.
To get up at like 5 a.m.
I forgot to finish. So my top 3.
Work at 5 a.m.
I was gonna finish this. My top 3. It's still Fairy Tail, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then probably a tie between Berserk and Code Geass. I do love me some Code Geass.
Code Geass, boys.
Dude, I just finished doing another rewatch. I'm so excited for R3. Stoked.
I've got the movie pre-ordered.
Yeah, I'm watching. Generally I love the subs, but I love the Code Geass dub. Johnny Young Bosch. I like Johnny Young Bosch. Yeah, Johnny Young Bosch is Lelouch, I think, is spot on.
My absolute boy. Okay, so my top 3. I'm a bit of a shonen trash, so like it's a teens basic. So I'm gonna have some honorable mentions to de-basic myself. My top 3 for about like 3 years, and it hasn't changed because nothing's dethroned it for me yet. Is number 1 Hunter x Hunter, number 2 One Piece, and number 3 Full Metal Alchemist. But honorable mentions, I absolutely adore Assassination Classroom. I love Mob Psycho.
Mob Psycho. I forgot to mention that.
My shelves here. Oh, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is easily top 5.
I'll get past part 3 one.
See here.
There we go.
I'm looking around. What else I got? Yeah, I mean, I'll stick with that for now. I have a bunch of other like series, but those are the ones that really stand out to me. How do you guys feel about Assassination Classroom? Because that's what I watched recently that shot up so fucking fast. I loved it.
Oh, I thought it was fun.
I do plan on.
Oh, neither of you have?
I have. My favorite thing is just my favorite thing will always be the weird volume cover.
They're great.
It's like Dimension W, or it's like, oh, cool. We're gonna do. What are we gonna do weird this time? Dimension W's are all fucking glow in the dark.
Pretty
It's
great.
fucking
I definitely recommend it, KidOtaku. It like starts off it's as like a kind of a comedy slice of life, but then it just gets more and more serious until it makes you cry.
that dude done anything
I did
since
warn you early on that you'd be
Assassination
crying your
Classroom?
goddamn eyes out, didn't I?
True.
That guy done anything since Assassination Classroom?
But as for like One Piece, like Hunter x Hunter, I've talked about why I love so much. It literally just everything about the power system, the characters, Killua and Gon's friendship is like everything to me. One Piece, I just love the One Piece has the best world building of all time. I don't care what anyone says.
Ooh, have you read Toriko, my friend?
Okay, I guess I got to go back and try Toriko again.
Toriko's world building is top tier.
I made the mistake of trying the Toriko anime.
Oh, why would you do that?
Well, that was
Because I
your
didn't know.
issue.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I know when I read it, I'm probably
Randomly, let's like just hey, let's give him an anime exclusive power up where he turns into like a red Super Saiyan ogre man.
But I do
all
love
blood
One Piece
gone.
really, I don't remember which one of you earlier was talking about like loving the adventure of shonen manga.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, that's what One Piece is to me. Like One Piece is just so fun. Like going to the different islands and seeing like the way those islands work and their customs and like the crazy creatures and the beautiful landscapes. It's just so fun to watch this like family of characters that I love just travel from place to place, and the powers are wacky. Like besides JoJo, they're up there in like wackiness. Like only JoJo can surpass the wacky powers of like One Piece. So yeah, and then Fullmetal Alchemist is just like that's one of the most perfect.
There's a reason Foxy will never come back. He's too OP. Foxy would beat any of the Yonks. You just push him in the water.
I wonder Foxy versus fucking Kizaru. Like what would happen there?
Foxy would beat any of them. Freeze him and then push him in the water. He wins. There's a reason why Oda's never gonna bring him back. Is because he randomly he's got mostly like elemental and animal powers and then some weird ones. And then he's just like, well, this guy can shoot beams that will stop you in like all form of like kinetic energy and momentum. I'm just like, just throw. No, that's just a lot of Paramecia is like random, and then you have the Zoans with other animals. But then I meant like a lot of the big guys, like a lot of big ones, you got like elements and stuff. But it's just like most of the
in unique ways though.
Most of the Paramecias are like pretty. A majority of them are pretty low, and then you got like Whitebeard, who's just Whitebeard. Like Foxy though, like Foxy could legitimately beat almost anybody in the series as long as he just lands that stop. Then he's gonna win.
Well, I'll give you my idea of like a quintessential One Piece fight. Like, do you remember? This is like quite a while back, but like in
Lucci versus Luffy.
Garden arc when Mr. 3 shows up. Like that's just so fun. Like I love One Piece fights that are just fun. And I remember like so many good moments where like Zoro's turning into a wax statue and he's like posing and he's like, well, if I'm gonna die, I might as well be a cool, in a cool pose. And then like Nami's like all scared and he's like, Nami, you better get your cool pose on before you die. So fucking good. But yeah. Final thoughts, guys. This has been fun. Good talking to you guys.
Good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go more.
Channels one more time.
Rex the Kuro. KidOtaku.
All right, so pretty much what I do is I do My Hero Academia, Kaizen, Chainsaw Man. Those are series I really want to build up right now. I kind of want to do 4, but I don't want to overwork myself. So those.
If Hunter x Hunter comes back, will you review it?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I'm waiting for because like by the time I caught up to it, like I think it was like 2 years ago.
Again.
You're gonna get like 3 reviews out a year. You get like 3 reviews of it out.
I always enjoy it when it's around though, so I'm glad to have it.
All right, cool. Rax, plug yourself.
Hey, check out my channel. I still do a lot of the weekly things. I really wish there's so many small series that I wish got normal translations or official translations that I could actually review consistently.
Shy.
Najimaki Kagyu, dude, I will buy that the second the volumes come out. It makes me so sad.
Because I need to be less basic. Because like I wish I fully admit I need to be less basic.
No, I get it, man. Shonen's just fun and easy access. That's another Shonen. Shonen Jump.
It's Shonen Jump, but it's not battle oriented. It's pretty much showing the growth of like.
Give Dolly Kill.
Huh?
I guess I'll just recommend like Dolly Kill. It's like
similar to that Pun story I told you earlier.
Yeah,
it's a little different. It's not as dark as like Pun is. It's just like this girl who like she wants to become an actress, but she pretty much like and the way that you see her like show her acting skills is through like method acting. If you know what like method acting
She's
is.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, it's pretty
That
it's a
is
pretty
true,
interesting
Jared
story.
Leto, though.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly do.
No, I was just thinking
Yeah.
Jared Joker.
Oh. You know what? If they
Alright.
just took so many damn accessories off him and actually like let him do
Like, I'll
stuff,
put it in there. You get like a
he
better
probably would have
idea
been
of it.
received.
I have a hard
more,
time
but
explaining
whatever.
things.
Poor
All
Jared
right, and
Leto.
then for anyone watching it on one of our channels, we're Kontrolled Chaos. I recommend coming over to our channel and just watching our like minute-long channel trailer. That'll give you a vibe of what we do over there. We do group reviews, so it's like 2 people reviewing
Sometimes
a series.
3.
Yeah, 3 if we're feeling crazy. But it's
If we can
My
drag
Hero,
Thurman out of
Chainsaw
whatever
Man.
gutter he's in.
Shut the fuck up. We do My Hero, Chainsaw Man, Dr. Stone,
Ruby.
yeah,
When
thank
the-
you.
Oh God.
Rick and Morty we've been trying to talk about, but
Are you caught up on
I'm a big
Ruby?
fan of that. Say what?
Yep.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we talk about Ruby.
Dude, I fucking hate Robin Hill's character. I fucking hate her so much.
Why?
Dude, she doesn't do anything. She's just like a terrorist. That also, there's this weird thing about Rooster Teeth, the last like 2 volumes, where they keep like hyping up bad guys, like Jacques. Jacques is made out to be like this. Oh, he's some scummy business guy. But like, look what he's doing. Look what Robin Hill's doing. Like, Jacques wants to get in control, undo the dust embargo, and then revitalize his company, which would put people back in work, open up their shops again, you know, help the trade between kingdoms. And then what does Robin Hill do? She's going around attacking military convoys. And it's not like they're military. The Atlas military isn't like, oh, we're scummy guys who go around like beating and robbing people for no reason. They're just on patrol for grim attacks and like people who are rioting. And all they're doing is like attacking these like little robot patrols. So if grim attack, nothing's gonna happen. Because out of all the grim attacks, they didn't show up at all. They just go and try and jump military groups. They don't do anything. Her character is such a, she's such a, I hate her.
I have a soft spot for anti-establishment politicians.
If she was like made out like, oh, the Atlas government, they're all corrupt, they're all bad and corrupt, and they're stealing from people and doing all this bad stuff, and it's like she just like, you know, she's just Robin Hood, but she just comes off as she's just attacking military groups doing their job, and they're not even bad. They're not even like corrupt, evil military. They're just like, oh yeah, we're here in case something goes down.
I can agree with you that could be.
I get so annoyed by her
Has always
character.
been that the story really isn't its strong suit. It's always been its like fights.
A lot of the villains are really cool too, but they keep ruining them. Like Torchwick, Torchwick's character got trashed.
I think volume 4 and 5 were like super weak, but
Volume 4 was fine. Volume 5 is probably the worst volume.
Yeah,
I think
it was for sure. No,
like,
I even hated volume 4, but I think 6 and 7 have been good so far. At least
6, what they did to my boy Adam, I'll never forgive. I'll never forgive them. Like Adam ran through Blake and Yang at end of volume 3. He like completely trashed them in a fight. He's more experienced. He's faster. He's stronger. He straight 100 to 0 Yang's aura in one shot, and then after 2 volumes of them sulking and protesting, they can somehow fight him. That was such bullshit.
I agree.
I hate it. Like they keep ruining their best villains. Like Torchwick got ruined.
I do miss Torchwick.
Torchwick had no visible sign his aura went down, and somehow some random Grim kills him, which was absolutely ridiculous. Adam like gets bitch made in volume 5, where he somehow runs away from a bunch of no-name characters. Well, not only is it him, but he's got Hazel there to back him up. Cinder's character built up in volume 4 was great, and then it's like volume 5 after like 12, 15 episodes of like her wanting to murderously kill Ruby, and then she's in the room with her and she doesn't even pay attention to her. She goes after Weiss, while Weiss like fumbles to run into walls. I'm so worried what they're gonna do with Watts if they ruin him too, because he's been such a compelling villain.
Take on Ruby.
Oh my God.
Is and always will be. It's like Ruby is to me a turn your brain off and enjoy show because it is sloppily executed.
Well, the side characters are doing really good right now. Like John is fantastic. Everything about John's character is great.
Yep.
Ren and Nora are pretty interesting. I like that he's, you know, they finally kissed, but he doesn't agree with her stances are. Also, side note, just Nora and their whole group, when they're like, oh, we should tell them about all these things and, you know, quit trying to police them as much. And then Ironwood is like, no, this is why that won't work. like 30, less than 30 seconds of thinking, and he just shuts down everything that they say.
You're on Ironwood's side too.
Dude, Ironwood is like the only experienced one. It's like, oh, he's not doing bad stuff. I get so mad. I've gotten so mad watching this last couple volumes. Like in the last episode, they spilled like, what was it? They did all this to spill all this food on Whitley, and they just humiliated this old lady who she wasn't depicted as some bad person. She was just some lady, and they humiliated her and ruined her night. And then they're like, haha, we ruined Whitley. Like he's gonna have to go put on. I'm like, they're like, we're gonna go put some new. He's gonna have to put some new. I mean, look at this poor lady. And what are they gonna go uncover stuff they don't know?
A fucking meeting for rich people that are really.
Yeah, but they didn't even like portray her as like some bad rich like an old racist or like someone who hates the poor. She was just some nice lady. She was just there. Like the last 2 volumes they've done so like every time they were like this character is bad and this character is good. It makes me feel the opposite because it's the same thing like Jacques. Jacques is an asshole. But everything he's doing is good. Would end up good. Everything he's doing would end up helping people. Well, what is Robin Hill doing? She just causes problems. She has no like sight into like how can I help people. Everything that I'm doing aiding people. She's not like, oh, I deconstructed these robots and armed the people. No, she's just attacking and robbing them. And then the whole plot point where Tyrion is like somehow not seen at all when. What's her name? Fiona or whatever the Fawn is. For one, they already established Faunas can see in the dark, most of them. But she can see in the dark. So the fact that she cannot see Tyrion is absolutely moronic. And the fact that she has a power, like Robin Hill's power is she's a lie detector. So how can she not figure out like, oh, hey, is this what you're saying this person doing it true? Oh, it's not because I have a lie detector power. God, there's so many horrible writing aspects with Ruby the last 2 volumes. I get so mad. Like, yeah, they have all this nice setup. Like Salem's character is super interesting. I think that episode where it showed her backstory is the best episode in the whole series.
100%.
They have all these really interesting villains and all these cool designs, and they just keep fumbling. I get so mad. I was like, how are you guys fucking up so easily? You have it all laid out, and you're not doing stuff for 8 months.
Good rant. It was good.
I get so grumpy.
And I agree with most of what you're saying. And like I said, I don't think Rooster Teeth will ever be good at story. That's really.
I don't get how they can't. Like you sit down, you plan out a couple volumes, and then you work. Like it was so much more consistent when Monty was in charge. It makes me sad. Miss him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's clearly now, and the last thing I'll say on this, and let's try to move on, just so.
Oh, one last thing. If they end up making Blake and Yang a thing for shippers, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. I'm gonna fucking lose it.
What if that was just the plan all along?
They had 2 volumes where Sun earned the respect of Blake's parents. 2 volumes of this whole thing, and then her like winning over his trust, and like he's not just. It was like a whole struggle, but it was like she's like, oh, feelings for Adam, this like horrible guy she knows is bad, but she has lingering feelings for him. Versus this good guy who she knows is a good person, but she's like, I don't want to get into this again.
I hope they have like a genuine like
love triangle where they had this whole build up, and then like now all of a sudden she's like, what, gonna be lesbians with Yang for shippers? I'm just like, why? Why would you destroy this really nice setup you guys spent 2 volumes establishing for shippers? It makes me so frustrated. That's the one thing that the Ruby fandom.
Get me too upset because at the end of the day it is still for fun. But I feel what you're saying.
I get invested. I get so mad. It's like
That's fine. I mean, my take on Ruby is like I've really lowered my expectations with Ruby because it's never been like very well constructed. You know, I go into Ruby for like
since volume 5, I've pretty much been lowered the bar every.
Oh, same.
Like volume 3 ended so great.
My expectations were so fucking low after volume 5. Like 6 and 7. Really
volume 3 was great. Volume 4 was like, okay, yeah, there's all this nice setup. They got all this new stuff they're laying out, and then it's like volume 5 was just a fucking train wreck. Volume 6,
which is what I was originally doing. Sorry about how that.
I got so disorientated.
Yeah, our very normal things we do over there is Chainsaw Man, Dr. Stone, My Hero Academia, One Piece. And am I missing anything, David?
No, not really. It just there's the various videos we do, like Rick and Morty when we can. Hoping
We
to
try
bring
to do
back
like
the
filler
chaos
videos in
battles.
between, like just discussions on anything. I want to bring back Chaos Battle, which is where we just kind of we take two characters and we debate for a good long time.
Man,
who's
sign me
winning,
up. Sign me up for that. That sounds super fun.
Oh yeah,
I love.
I'll send you the playlist to the ones we've done. Like we edit up like all the beats and stuff. It's very.
I love power level argument stuff.
Yeah, basically, we the way what we've branded ourselves as over there is just like we just kind of be ourselves. We don't worry about censoring ourselves or anything. We do crazy dark humor, but also just actually dive into the chapter. And like I said, if you really want to know what we're about, check out the channel trailer, and you'll get a vibe if you will like it or not. Thank you so much to KidOtaku and Rax the Hero for doing this collab with us.
No
I wanted
problem.
to
It's
reach
fun.
out and do this for a long time, so I appreciate that, guys.
Happy to do it. It's honestly good to talk about like your favorite series of a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm revved up for 2020. Got a lot of stuff going on.
Definitely.
About to
And
drop a bunch of new
we
shonen
can
series too.
I hope we can do more of these in the future. Like if anything super interesting happens in Chainsaw Man, like above and beyond interesting, we could maybe get together and do like our own reverie stream, but for Chainsaw Man.
Do it.
That'd be cool.
Chainsaw Express.
All right, thanks so much, guys. I'm gonna end my recording then.
Yeah, I'm gonna end mine as well.
So
Talk
my
to you
plan
guys
what I'm
later.
gonna